Test, test, test. This is my first time using StreamYard. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I hope this goes out right. I hope people log in. I have no idea how this works. But for whatever reason, I couldn't get on just regular YouTube live, and that wasn't working. That wasn't really flowing. So we're gonna see if the comments work. If I mess this up, guys, you gotta bear with me. I don't know if YouTube is actually sending the stream out. So guys, send me the comments. Like two people are in here for the birthday show. You guys send me messages, send me comments. Let me know how things are flowing. Let me know if my audio is good. Let me know if the digital portion is good, and then we're gonna kick back if everything's working. So let's see how this flows. It's the closeout of my birthday. Everything is starting to come to an end. It's been 2 days of a celebration for me. The family's been looking out for me. Had a pretty good time. So I'm gonna end this out with, it coming to an end on the West Coast with the shark. Brought my whole dry box out here. You guys see that is there. And close out with the shark. That's the way we're gonna do this. I got a really bad cutter, so I don't know how that's gonna work. Let's see, so I can see the comments. So Joey says, "Sup? What up, Joey?" He said wrong account. No doubt. It's funny because I knew who you were, though. That's crazy. Loud and clear. Appreciate that, Keith. Thank you very much. You guys might have to go out and let everybody know that I'm on. I don't know if this is gonna work the same, just because I don't normally use this setup. It might just be the three of us kicking it. Shouts out to anybody that's joined in. Thank you if you hit the like button. This is the worst cutter. It's definitely a shark. It is definitely a shark. This is my all-time favorite cigar. This is the cigar that I usually smoke on my birthday, just to kind of sit back and celebrate. Y'all know the whole thing behind the show is to smoke your best cigars, and to kick back and enjoy the cigars that you love and that are gonna be, great all the time. That's the whole concept. The shark is the one that I usually save and preserve for the special occasions. I smoke them on a regular basis sometimes too, but I don't know. It just feels right on my birthday to smoke my favorite cigar. You shouldn't wait on it because you never know when it's going to be your last birthday. This might not be, this might be the last one. I haven't been talking to my brother for a while, and he just texted me just a moment ago. And he was saying that we got to cherish every one of these birthdays. And he's not lying. You know what I mean? It's like we got to get to a point where it's interesting for us because our father passed away when we were 9 months old. So we never really had a chance to really see what it's like to grow up as a man and, to raise your kids. And, we didn't get to see that until we got to that point. My pops passed away at 30 years old. And when I first started doing the Smoke Your Best Cigars on one of my birthdays, I did that. And I was saying that, I didn't think I was going to make it to 30, and because I had no experience with that. You see what a lot of, people that came from, places that we came from, and just the random acts that happened to our dad and all that kind of stuff. It was like we were lucky to make it to 30. So now both of us are approaching 50. So that 20 years was a tense time for us. Tim, what up, man? Good to see you, homeboy. Thank you for the birthday love, man. Appreciate you. I can't stay. Oh, hey, man, I appreciate you joining in anyway, man. I appreciate it. Look like we got Matt in the building, too. What up, Matt? And I don't know how to use this thing, man. So I know with StreamYard, normally these things will be popping up, but I don't know how to make that happen. So I'll learn how to use StreamYard later, man. Let me see. All right, so I think I figured this out, just kind of playing around with it. So boom, now I'm learning. Happy birthday from my man, Cigar Hound Dog. That's Matt. Appreciate it, bro. Saying what's up in here. So that's kind of dope, man. I'm gonna figure out how to do this. I got new comments coming in. I feel you, bro. Let me see. Let me do this. See if I can do that like this. Feel you, bro. Say he already surpassed his father's age too. Feel like I'm on borrowed time. Yeah, man. And in the way we are, man. In the way we are. And I don't want to be macabre. I don't want to be like really negative. And what I was saying to my brother is that like you got to appreciate the fact that we make it this far. So every birthday counts. And you don't take any of them for granted. So getting the message from my brother was cool. You know, the kids took me out to get some food. I don't know if y'all ever had yukatsu before. Y'all familiar with what yukatsu is? Katsu is basically like a fried dish that you get in Japan. So this is like fried beef. So I went out with the family, ate yukatsu. Appreciate it, Keith. Thanks for the birthday love. Let me put this one up from Matt so we can talk about that. So this is a cigar show. So we're definitely gonna do that. Dude, so that HDM was money. So I had last night, if you guys will follow me on Instagram, you know, I posted my 2 birthday cigars. So last night I just sat by myself. I sat right here on the porch. It's raining outside. And I just kind of watched my neighborhood, just kind of kicking back. And I lit up a Cuban, and it was the Hoya de Monterrey Double Corona. And, you know, that is a cigar. It kind of comes with this prestige. Like whenever you might see Jay-Z, you might see Steph Curry, Jack Nicholson, you know, anybody that you see that smokes Cuban cigars, especially a lot of these well-to-do people that got a lot of money, they smoking that Double Corona. Shouts out to Sal for actually sending that out to me. Hey, as a matter of fact, man, when y'all here, go let everybody know that we here, man, that they can come kick it with me for the birthday, man, because I don't think YouTube is sending this out like it normally does since I'm doing it through StreamYard. That being said, shouts out to Sal for sending that out to me, man. And that Double Corona is a long cigar. So I probably sat out here for almost 2 hours just kicking it with that cigar. You got the basic cedar, got a little bit of the Cuban twang, you got some caramel notes. Once it got to the final, maybe like a little bit shorter than the Robusto size, it started to give like the coffee notes and a lot of tea. So it's a beautiful cigar, man. It really is a great tasting cigar. So Matt also asked, did I eat the horse meat yet? That's Basashi. No, man, I gotta go to Kumamoto before I do that. I'm gonna do it. I was just talking to my wife about it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna eat it. So this is like Basashi is horse meat sashimi. I'm gonna do it, but I gotta get to Kumamoto first. Tomorrow we leave for Osaka, so I'm gonna spend some time. I got some homies coming in from San Diego, and I'm gonna kick it with them in Osaka. It's my homie that just retired from the Navy. His wife, that is really close with my wife. Their kids, my kids. We just gonna go through Osaka and spend some time together. So when I get a chance, man, I'm gonna eat it up, man. I'm gonna see what happens. But it's a fascinating thing because it makes me like. It's a dish that I'm actually getting nervous about. I normally don't get nervous about trying new foods. And I eat I tried carpaccios. I tried like all these different. I said I'm looking young today. Appreciate you, Peter. That's a nice compliment, bro. I'll touch on that in a second. But it's one of those things. I tried carpaccio. I tried like a lot of dishes that a lot of people normally won't eat, and the only things that I usually cannot eat, like just completely avoid, is like blood dishes. But I've had dinuguan, which is a Filipino dish that is made from pig blood. Like blood sausage, I don't think I could do that. But these people have been eating horse meat forever. You know what I'm saying? And I was joking with the fellas, like, yo, if you've eaten Burger King, they had to report a few years ago that they were selling horse meat too. So, people, we probably already had this, man. We probably already had a lot of dishes before. So I'm just going to go and wing it and try it, man, just to see what happens. The whole looking young thing, man, it's kind of a funny thing. Peter, because I know I'm an old head. I know I'm an old cat. And what's really funny, like I'm gonna talk about my daughter in a second, but this thing ain't lit properly. This I've been working with all these Japanese kids, man. I've been going out and doing, the English language and all this kind of stuff. So one of the things that we got to do is we got to ask everybody their age so they can, tell us how old they are in Japanese and all that kind of stuff like that. And so in English rather. And usually so they come back around to me and I ask them like, how old am I? And they kind of look at each other and, they're like 24. I'm like, nah. Oh, like they're like 34. And I'm like, nah, I go up. And I'm like, I'm 44. Yonju Yonsai. I'm 44 years old. And then they like wilding out, everybody like, spazzing and bugging out and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of cool. I try to keep myself in shape, try to eat good. But I know I'm an old head. I got the gray showing. I don't even want to be those cats that like just trying to be young. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So this is cool though. Let me see where this came from. So if said happy birthday, man. I'm gonna light that Rocky Patel Royale with you. Okay, light that up. That's big money right there. Everybody doing the CAO baller. Yo, y'all go full baller for my birthday. Do that. I appreciate that. Got some more birthday love right here. Shouts out to the homies Texas Southpaw. That's cool. Appreciate the birthday love, y'all. I really do, man. It means a lot. Yeah, dude, blood sausage is way too honked out, even for me. I can't do that, man. It's just that it's not many things, Matt, that make me cringe like that. That makes me cringe. Blood sausage just kind of give me the willies. And I know I probably talked about it before, but are y'all familiar with balut? Y'all know what balut is? That's another Filipino dish, but it's basically an egg, and the egg has like still has the embryo in it. That's the other one I can't do. There you go. That draw is better. My draw is kind of tight. That's so much better. It's like knowing that that's a baby bird inside there. I can't eat it. And I hear it tastes delicious, and I love Anthony Bourdain. Y'all know how I am about Anthony Bourdain. I love that shit, but I can't do it. All right, y'all got to tell me, did I ever tell y'all the foie gras story? So y'all know, like, for those who've been following me for a long time, y'all know that I used to be, I won't call myself a chef. I used to be a cook. I used to be a butcher. And I went to culinary school. I graduated from culinary school. Did I ever tell y'all that story? He said, get the egg baby out of here, bro. No doubt. He said, nah, I love this. I might have to start using StreamYard a lot more. I love this. This is fun. All right, so let me tell y'all the foie gras story while we smoking this cigar. And y'all let me know too. Also put in what y'all smoking for my birthday, man. Let me know what cigars y'all lighting up tonight. What y'all have for the day. Because I know y'all smoking, man. I know it's the middle of the week for y'all, but still, let me know what y'all lighting up. So the foie gras story. Back when I was in culinary school, I was in what do you call it? I was in baking class. So, we would get stressed out when we got to go into baking. Because if any of you are bakers and you had to bake, you got to put a lot of focus in the baking. You got to measure everything out. And it was a very calculated course. And the teacher that we had at the time, my favorite teacher wasn't our teacher anymore. We went to the second level, and the lady that was teaching us, she was really eccentric and she was really weird. And it was really hard to, I'm going to put that up right there. It was really hard to understand how she was teaching. So we went into class and we were stressed out. We walk into the baking class and nobody's there. So we like, yo, what the hell is going on? Like, why ain't nobody here? Like, what's happening, man? What's going on? So they pull us out of the class and they take us into an auditorium. They don't explain anything. They don't tell us what they're doing. They don't tell us why we're going in there. They just pull us out and then they just take us into this place in the auditorium and they turn on the video. And this video that they're making us watch is all about how they make foie gras. There's no explanation. There's no detail. There's no context. It's just turn on this video and just watch. And while we watching the video, they just sitting back in the room. So if you all haven't seen the process of how they make foie gras, they basically just take these ducks. They got this. They start off with a beautiful scene. It's sunny outside, and the ducks are running outside, and they're frolicking. And they got them like by the water and all this kind of stuff. And then they just have somebody in a suit just come in and just snatch up the ducks. And then they take them into a factory and they put the ducks in a machine that like sits around their neck, and they just force feed them. And it's just rows on an assembly line of ducks just going through, and they're just force feeding the ducks. Ducks go through, pipe comes through, open their mouth, bang, just shoving food in them, send them down the line. And their beaks are breaking open, and like it's grotesque. And we in class like, what the, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just out of nowhere. We like, yo, what the hell is going on? Bugging outside, what up? We going crazy, like, yo, what is this? And they end the class, and then that was our class. Like when the video ends, they don't explain why they showed it. They don't explain what they were doing. said, no damn way. This is a true story, bro. This is a true story. James, what up, man? Thank you for the birthday love. It should be illegal. It should be illegal. Like, but the way they did, like, I mean, it was grotesque the way they did this stuff. So after I leave there, like I'm traumatized. Like the whole class, we just standing out in the hallway, like, yo, what just happened? Yo, why did they do that to us? This is so good. The flavors I'm getting off of this thing is so good. Let me light this joint properly. I'm talking too much. But later on, when I went into, become a butcher, we work with all these, fantastic farms, and we work with all these different people and things like that. And so they brought us some foie gras. And that's the first and only time that I ever ate it. And I had to find out that it was ethically made, and the only the farms that we would work with were all, ethical farms and ethical processes and stuff like that. But, I was traumatized, man. I wouldn't eat foie gras after that. Like I didn't want to eat it. And honestly, after I did eat it, finally eating caviar and finally eating foie gras, it really wasn't that great. I mean, it's buttery, and it's stuff like it, but it really didn't taste like anything. And it was just like, what the hell is this? So it wasn't all that. Let me see what the homie Doug is saying. Said just put out at Brick House, smoking the national brand cigar by the Christian Aurora and owned by Davidoff. So that sounds like it'd be pretty good. They're good for a cheap $3 sticks at the B&M, all long filler too. Hey, look, sometimes when you get those, Doug, man, smoking the right budget cigar is great. Sal was just talking the other day about having a really good budget cigar. Y'all know how I feel about the Umbagog. That is fantastic. The Pulpetta is a budget cigar. It's fantastic. Matt, Cigar Hound Dog, put me on to the Buffalo 10. I still enjoy those from time to time. So if it's a good cigar, it's a good cigar, man. Thank you for enjoying that joint, man. Happy birthday. I just bought a half a box of DC Sharks. Yeah. Get them when available. This is the cigar, man. Oh, dude, this is the first time I ever got one of these, man. So let me put that up first, man. That was a $9 super chat. That don't happen very often, man. So I got to throw that up there. Let me show this, man. Appreciate the love. That's love, man. Thank you very much. And especially for giving the birthday love too. So that means a lot, bro. Thank you. I'm gonna leave that there for a minute. And I really appreciate you. Sal said he preferred liverwurst. That's I can eat it. It's not I don't like liver. I had to come to the terms that I don't like offal, like the innards and all that. Like I've tried. We had sweetbreads, we had all that. Like I tried all that stuff. I can't get with it, bro. I can't. Caviar on cantaloupe is fire. It's a fire combination. James, I do not like cantaloupe. I don't like melon. And I know somebody probably gonna take my black card for that, man. But I don't like melon. I don't like watermelon. I don't like honeydew. I don't like cantaloupe. I don't like anything in that melon family, man. That's just not for me, bro. I would rather just eat the caviar, and I don't like caviar. Happy birthday, fam, from Hugo. Hugo, shouts out to you, man. Keep doing your thing, brother. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna try to catch up. I'm gonna try to go down the line with these, man. I'm gonna try to show Matt that I can do StreamYard and I can make this work. Hot Box said he lit up a diesel. Don't know which one. All the labels are the same. That's big facts. That's part of the reason why I don't mess with him. That is hilarious, dude. I got my boy Pan up in here. Pan, what up, man? Thank you for the birthday love, brother. Let me see what this one is, right? I've been getting back to into boxing and martial arts. That's what's up, man. I haven't been training like I should, so I'm glad you're back looking into it. Looking to get some equipment and wanted to start training soon. Looking into freestyle wrestling, boxing, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, or Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. I'm gonna say it like this, man. You want to dabble and experiment in as many as you can. If you're really looking to defend yourself, just like true martial arts, pugilist, like if you're trying to train it for competition, or if you're trying to train so that like if you got to go out in the street and defend your family, I would say practicing wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, and Muay Thai. Judo has its things. Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, they're cool too. They have some things that you can utilize. But honestly, being able to wrestle, take somebody down, and avoid takedowns, being able to box, being able to circle around, have good footwork, have the ability to bob and weave, move your head, and then stand on your feet and throw hands is necessary. Muay Thai, being able to generate the strength in your lower legs and to be able to protect yourself in the end fight, and using your knees and elbows. These are techniques that actually work in the field. Like you will really be able to go out there and train and fight and work and be able to do some dope shit, man. So like that's where I would go. And the reason why I say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like if you get down on the ground, this is where I need to practice more too. I need to get more comfortable with being smothered and somebody like, taking over my body. I need to be able to work my way out of that and be able to fight through that. So those are like excellent martial arts that you can actually use in real life and train your body in a great way. So that's just my opinion as a former martial artist and just someone that loves, the whole culture of being a pugilist. That's what I would add to that, man. Thank y'all for kicking it with me right now. So my man DC is right here. Said, happy birthday, brother. Let's do beeps when you're back in the Bay. Most definitely, bro. I'm never going to turn that down. I'm never going to turn that down. And I finally found a good burger spot out here in Japan. So in the same area, there's a place that is Sasebo Pizzeria, and right across the street they got it's what it's called, a Bronx burger. The burger is small as hell, but it's delicious. This is the first time I've had a burger here that was really good. When I get a chance, I'll post that up. Trust me, it doesn't equate to beeps, but when I get a chance, man, when I'm in the Bay, we're gonna do it West Coast style. How they do it out there? we're gonna go dumb out there. We'll go to beeps and go dumb. That's what's up. Shouts out to the homie for sending the super chat, man. Appreciate you. So you're my first super chat. Thank you, brother. I will pay you back with that super chat, man. Thank you, man. It's good to have homies like that, man. The homies just showing love, man. Yo, if you know, said I don't like grape flavored things. Okay, so here's the thing with that. Do you not like the artificially grape flavored things? Like if you go to, in the US and you get like a crush, like you get a grape drink or like grape 9 liters or something like that. Yeah, I noticed that I'm from North Carolina. I said 9 liters, right? Instead of now and liters. So like you get grape 9 liters. That's a whole different thing right there. Like it really is a like when you come to Japan and you actually get something that is grape flavored, it tastes like real grapes. That's one thing I need to make a video about that. That's one thing I love about Japan. Any of their candies, any of their juices, any of their sweets, whatever it has, if it's grape flavored, if it's banana flavored, if it's Ichigo strawberry flavored, whatever, it tastes like what it's supposed to taste like, bro. It's crazy. Like I've never seen anything like it. Let me get back to the martial arts show. Let me do these super likes too, man. So I'm gonna try to catch up with y'all. This is a little bit more complicated. Matt, I feel you now. Hey man, thanks for the appreciation, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know I can't do these lives without y'all, man. So thank y'all for the love. Thank y'all for the super chats. We got this one right here. Look, if it wasn't for the super chat on this, I would be really mad. I just want y'all to know this is, a cause of PPS and a cause of a psychological effect. It happens to people sometimes. It's like Tourette syndrome. It make you just blurt out weird shit. So don't listen to this bullshit, man. But shouts out for the super chat, yo. He said, yeah, you're completely right. That's why I'm choosing those two. For self-defense, I wanted to train in Japanese jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I feel you on the weapons training though. That's a damn good point. Also, man, if you want, let me read this first. So, weapons training to be able to disarm and disable people with knives and others. I would highly recommend, if you haven't checked it out yet, looking into Eskrima. So this is Indonesian and Filipino martial arts, Eskrima or Silat. Especially when it comes to like disarming with knives and things like that, and training with with the hands and being able to fight in close, Eskrima or Silat. That's where I would go with that, man. There's a cat that when I was in Yokosuka who was training people in Eskrima, and I wanted to take his class so bad. I just didn't have the time to do it, man. But he was training a lot of kids. So to see him training the kids, in Silat and training the kids in Eskrima, man, it's just really dope. That would be the way I would go with that, man. And if you guys have not seen it, if you've never seen the movie Raid, go watch the Raid. Just the way they put Silat on film and the way they show like how the martial art can actually work if it's trained properly, it's a beautiful thing, man. And it's just a great movie. Also, Danny No Santo, Bruce Lee's homeboy, he's still alive right now. He is the one that taught Bruce Lee how to use nunchaku. He taught how to use the Filipino eskrima sticks and all that kind of stuff. Watch the original Game of Death, not the one that they butchered in the 1970s, the one that they edited. You will learn a lot just about those techniques and how that martial arts apply to each other. So that's really dope. Let me see here. Let me see. How do I thumbs up super chat? Bro, don't ask me. But I don't know which one you're trying to thumbs up. I hope you're not trying to thumbs up Peters, man. Leave that alone. All the love here. Let's go. Style with the super chat. Thank you, brother. Hey man, you put a comment, man. You got to put a comment with the joint, man. Don't just send a super chat, man. I appreciate the love, man. But I'm trying to hear what you guys got to say. Let me see what my man right here got to say. I'm catching up now. Southpaw said watermelon candy tastes exactly like watermelon candy. Not sure where that flavor comes from. I'm not sure either. But once again, if you are in Japan, if you get Japanese candies and it says a flavor on it, it will taste like that. It's going to taste like watermelon. I love the cigar, y'all. I love the cigar. I don't know how they do it, but they get it right every time. And that's a huge super chat, man. Thank y'all for the love, man. I appreciate that, man. And I know it's for the birthday, man. So, this means a lot to me. It really does, man, because y'all ain't have to do that. Don't know what this super chat is about, but it's going to you. Consider this your birthday gift. DC, thank you, brother. That's cool. I appreciate it. Can we buy this man a birthday cigar? No, I got a birthday cigar right here, man. Yeah, and basically at this point, based on the super chats, I can get another shot. So I'm good, man. Y'all don't go out of the way, man. I thank y'all. It says super chat is lit. It is lit, yo. I have to go. Take care. I'm giving love to my man Pan right there for popping up. And so let me go back. We're going back to the grape flavor topic right here. So he said, yeah, it's the grape flavor, things and sodas, candy, and so on. As you pointed out, I've had grape candy overseas, and it's completely different. They sell us poison here in the U.S. But see, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. When you're talking about the watermelon flavor, when you're talking about the grape flavor, and talking about banana, And the way they flavor things here in the US, I don't know what it is, man, because they can never get the flavor right. They can never, and it's like, I don't know what that banana tastes like. It's just like a creamy, sweet mess. It doesn't taste like, but what I've heard is that I don't know if y'all ever pay attention. Like I hate to get on my foodie stuff now, but the bananas that I get out here that come from the Philippines taste completely different than the bananas in the United States. And the ones that I get from Japan that they grow around here taste completely different than the Philippines and the US. So I heard that the bananas that used to, come to the US had a completely different flavor. So that's what the old banana candy is supposed to be based on, what bananas used to taste like in America instead of what they taste like now. I don't know exactly how true that is, but I can actually see that being the case. So that's one thing that I learned recently that I thought was kind of fascinating. All right, real quick. While I'm waiting for more chats to come in, to get with the old man talk. So Peter was, talking about being an old man. So I've been doing my fatherhood thing recently, right? I've been, teaching my daughter how to draw. I've been teaching her like about music. So my daughter is like the artist in my family. So she loves music. She knows like SZA. She listened to Taylor Swift. She said Taylor Swift is her least favorite artist of all time right now. She can't stand Taylor Swift, even though she listens to her music sometimes, which is absolutely hilarious. So recently I put her on to Biggie's Hypnotize, right? So now my daughter can rap the whole verse to Biggie's Hypnotize. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Somehow your words just hypnotize me. And so when she get into it, she's like, I can feel you, real millionaire. S car go, my car go, 150, swiftly, wreck it by your new run, your crew run, your crew run. So she be in her room and she's like spitting. So she came to me recently, right? And she was just like asking me like how Biggie died and what happened to Biggie. So I'm trying to explain to a 9-year-old like the East Coast, West Coast beef and how Puffy is like a part of this thing where he might have gotten Biggie killed and he might have got Tupac killed. So my son goes to school all the time and he's always rocking his Tupac shirt. My son don't know nothing about Outkast. He don't know nothing about Tupac. He's not. I'm trying to introduce my son to like hip hop music, trying to get all of them into the music and the whole nine. Let me get this up here right real quick since we got a super chat. And I'm trying to get them into the music. So my daughter's catching on. So like I played another Biggie song yesterday because I turned 44, right? So I played Kick in the Door, waving the 4-4. All you heard was Biggie, don't hit me no more, right? So like she's digging the song. Like she's like, okay, I like this one, So I'm trying to play the clean versions. So she was like, so Dad, was Biggie more famous than Tupac, or was Tupac more famous than Biggie? So I'm like, honestly, Tupac was more famous. But I was like, I like Biggie better. And she was like, to me, Biggie is the best rapper of all time. And I'm just laughing at her saying that, which I think is adorable. But I love Big too. But it's so much more hip hop. So I got to teach her about Rakim. I got to teach her about Black Thought. Like I got to teach her all this stuff. Yeah, we appreciate you. I just read that message, yo. So I'm just catching on. Mike, that's hilarious, bro. So anyway, let me throw this one out too. So I'm teaching her all about Tupac and whatnot. I'm teaching her about Big and everything that happened. But I was like, look, Tupac wasn't my favorite rapper. I like Tupac, but there's certain songs that I like. So we in the car, we driving back home, and I put on Ambitions of a Rider. And I put on Ambitions of a Rider, and I put on the clean version. And she was like, Dad, I can't understand anything he's saying because they're blurting out every word and then the beat is too loud. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure this out. I can't figure out what's happening. I was just like, look, you'll get it. I'm going to play you some more songs. So I got to play her like, Tears, Picture Me Rolling. I can't play her like Hit 'Em Up. You know what I'm saying? I can't go like real deep into Tupac. Maybe I'll play Changes for her or something like that. But when I wake up this morning, she got Ambitions of a Rider playing in her room. and my daughter is like throwing up the W, and she in her room going crazy on Tupac lyrics. I don't know if I'm being a good father. I don't know if I'm being a bad father, but I just feel like it's cool, man, because I'm passing on these traditions. And my daughter is just so dope. Like she's hip hop to the core, yo. And it's just funny, man. So now, like to have her learning about these cats that died even before she was born, but now she's a Biggie and Tupac fan, and it's just a gateway to get her into hip hop. So I just thought that was cool. That was a good old man moment, and it all stemmed from me turning 44 and playing Kick in the Door. That's my little Tupac Biggie story for the little girl, man. Like I said, grew up in Cali. Went to Canada to see friends. We hit a burger spot, and even their ketchup tastes different. Oh yeah, that man, dude. Hold on, let me enjoy this for a second. Sorry, I needed that moment. Yeah, man. Like if you look at the ingredients on the ketchup from the American ketchup or from another country, or just like if you get like simply ketchup and they take out all the corn syrup and all that other kind of stuff, it's a different world. And I don't know what Mickey D's does, but Mickey D's ketchup tastes completely different from anybody's ketchup. It will still say Heinz on it, but it does not taste like any other ketchup. Mickey D's does something special, like they do with their French fries to their ketchup, man. So it's just a strange thing, dude. I'm with you on all that. Let me get to what Southpaw was saying. Tupac was an actor, so yeah, he'd be more famous in a crossover effect. But honestly, dude, that's not what made Pac the most famous out of all of them, man. The thing about what made Pac, so loved by everybody is one, he was so diverse. Like he's the same dude that can make Brenda's Got a Baby, and then he can make a song like So Many Tears. Then he can make a Dear Mama. Then he can make a Get Around. Then he can make a Hit 'Em Up. And then he can make a Picture Me Rolling. You know what I'm saying? Then he can make a Thug Life. Like Pac was able to touch just about everybody. And Pac was a pretty boy. You know what I'm saying? The Pac was like, ladies love Pac. Like there was a girl that I knew from Cali that, she's got to be in her 40s now. And she's still posting pics of Pac. Like, because she was just in love with Pac. You know what I'm saying? So you take that and that adds to, Pac's charisma. And then Pac was like, to be an activist, and he was just an emotional dude. Dude wore his heart on his sleeve. And then to be able to survive 5 gunshots initially, Pac was just, he was a ball of charisma. And his lyrics were easy to recite. So that helped out a lot too. So Pac was able to cross over to like, I knew white kids from the burbs that love Pac. Then you can find the Cholo cats that, they love Pac. And then you got the hood dudes that love Pac. Then you got all the poetry dudes that love Pac, and the moms that love Pac for making them. Like that's what made Pac. Biggie didn't have that. Biggie was charismatic too, but Biggie didn't have that same charisma that Pac had to be able to just draw everybody in. And then on top of that, you got somebody that can make a gridlock, a poetic justice, and to all the different movies that Pac Above the Rim, multifaceted, multi-talented, and Pac was able to like run around with a shirt off and all that kind of stuff, rocking the gold chains. Pac was just pure charisma. So that's what made Pac like, it's just like what you get with, with a Michael Jackson. You might be able to have somebody that can sing better than Mike, but you're not going to have anybody that can sing, dance, perform, speak, and do everything like Mike. Mike, making the videos, Mike was charisma. You know what I'm saying? So that's certain things that just took Pac to a whole different level. I'm a huge hip hop head. You connecting with your daughter is good no matter what. Yeah, man, that's my chick, man. So like, that's just how we roll for sure. Have a great birthday. Enjoy the rest of your day. You got me into the cigar world. Word. Hey, man, thank you, man. Thank you. So look, let's continue to do this, man. Rock with me, man, and let's keep smoking cigars together. Like these are like my favorite comments, man. Especially with me not doing reviews and stuff like that anymore. It's always nice to see that people found my channel and found a connection into the cigar community, probably making friends and smoking their best cigars. And, it's nice to be able to have an influence without like trying to be an influencer. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's nice just to see people enjoying it and just want to kick back, smoke, hang out, and talk, man. So that like this is a super chat for me right here, man. So thank you, bro. That means everything, everything. You got to get her into. Am I going to get her into cigars too? Think about the palate she would develop by the time she's a teenager. Nah, man, I'm gonna wait till she's older, man. So that's one thing that I think about. Like, so respectively, right now, my kids are 10 and 9. They're a year and a half apart, right? So in about 8 or 9 years, it's gonna be just like where your son is right now. They're gonna be graduating, and they're gonna be leaving school, and who knows what, God willing, that everything is gonna be all right, and everybody will make it to that point. I'll have many more birthdays, that I can make it down that line to be, damn near my 60s. That it would be kind of cool that I can have that moment where I can sit back and have a cigar with my son, or if my daughter wants to have a cigar, then I'm all for it. But I want them to get to the point where they're 18. I've been having the talks with them lately about like understanding, what they're choosing to put in their body as far as like foods and drugs and all that kind of stuff like that. And I don't have anything against cigars, especially like, understanding the process if I'm around, but I don't want them to try to jump into a habit where they don't have the mindset to be able to do it yet. I want them to be at an age where I can say, okay, let's sit down. You can have a drink with your mom, you can have a cigar with dad, and then we can celebrate together. That's something I've been talking about a lot, man, because they're getting to the point now where the influence from outside and not just from us is going to start coming in. My son is about to go into the 5th grade, and I know what I was like in the 5th grade. I know what the kids used to talk about in the 5th grade. This is the point where you don't tell your parents, but you're conscious enough that you understand what's going on. They see me doing these shows. They see me having cigars all the time, and I don't hide it from them anymore. It's one of those things that, like, I would rather them have the experience and know about cigars and know the difference in, cigarette tobacco and, tobacco smoking cigars, or, smoking some out of a pipe or smoking some out of another kind of pipe. Like I got to have that talk with them. You know what I'm saying? I got to really like break it down to them. And I just really started that conversation probably maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's funny that you brought that up. So that's a huge thing right now. I said, been wanting to get into making music for about 3 years. I took a break, but started writing and immediately was successful being a lyricist. Though now that I'm learning music, it's much more than just writing. Dude, have y'all been looking at I think what's the boy name? Kendrick Lamar just did his West Coast show. And he did a Juneteenth show. Shout out to everybody that was celebrating Juneteenth. And to see the way Kendrick Lamar is able to put together his lyrics with the beats that he's using, and even in these diss tracks and all this kind of stuff, the way he's putting everything together, the way he's making it flow, it's so much with delivery. Because I used to be an MC and I used to be a poet too, and it's so much nuance that you got to think about when you writing lyrics, like the timing of your bars, the inflection, like changing your flow and your cadences when you're with a beat and different beat patterns. If you want to really see a masterclass in how to emote and how to utilize energy, Tupac was a good point that I was talking about earlier, like with his inflection and his energy. All my enemies sipping Hennessy, and like people love that because you get into the rhythm of what Pac was saying. Andre 3000 from Outkast is probably one of the best at that. It's like every song that he's ever did, he had like a different flow for every song. And the way he used his voice, the way he made the sound of his voice, the way he would use his delivery, it changed from song to song. From when he's doing like a Life in a Day of Andre 3000, or if he's doing Hootie Hoo or Feminine, whatever the case, Andre always had a different flow and a different pattern. That's why he's always in somebody's top 10, because the way he can and make you feel something with his lyrics. And Kendrick was doing the same thing. So if you go back through and listen to that beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and you go through the whole flow of how they were releasing their songs when they were dissing each other, it's a masterclass on how to use different rhyme patterns and different flows and different inflections and different timing. Like that's just like a school to, like, if you're trying to get into that nuance of writing and connecting it with the music and connecting it with people's ear and creating earworms and creating flows. Everybody say "ov ho, ov ho," like little stuff that they're doing in the patterns. Just like, oh, that's catchy. Oh, that's so good. It's a whole lot to that, man. Let me go to the next one here. It's still a dream, but I definitely like to finally get some production gear this year so I can finally take it beyond writing. And I wanted to stick to rap, but I'm finding out true artists transcend genres. Everybody that I just mentioned, and Andre 3000, the Love Below album, he switched it up. Tyler, the Creator, the way he switched it up with Igor. He made a full pop album, won a Grammy. He should have won a Grammy for like best album. They only gave it to him for best rap album. It was not a rap album. As much as I hate Drake transcend different genres. That's what made Drake good. That's what made people fall in love with him. I know he had ghostwriters, but that still showed that his ability to be able to do that, man. So yeah, you definitely want to transcend genres, man, and be able to do a little bit of everything. We get so caught up in whether it's going to be rock music or whether it's going to be jazz or whether it's going to be, pop or whatever. But the beauty is to being able to just make music and make people appreciate music. So get that equipment, man. Invest in yourself. Make it happen. Some more birthday love coming through right now. Charlie, what up, man? Thank you for the birthday love. I said I've been having marital issues, so the cigar live streams are helping distract from the stress. Brother, I've been there. I understand it. I'll get into that. That's why I've been popping up more around town. So thanks for the chill energy. And that's what this is for, man. It's therapy for me too. And it's therapy for everybody that comes in, man. That's what these cigars are for. Smoke your best cigars. And, I hope everything works out for the best. Marriage is hard, man. It's really hard. I've been married for 16 years. I've been with my wife for over 20 years. And the amount of ups and downs that we've had in 2 decades is crazy. Some of it is her fault. Some of it is my fault. Some of it is our fault. But just the fact of being able to kind of piece things together and work it out, I don't know which way things will go. All in all, everything will kind of work out, but you always got a community to come to. You always got somebody that, that has an ear to be able to listen. And just know, man, that you're not alone going through that. Like, it happens. So, like, we've all been there. And this is a way to, if you got time to sit back and defrag and kind of, light up something really good and take your mind away from it. If I can be here to make things fun, man, and just kind of, just talk about other stuff, always come through with me, man. I'm going to keep doing these lives. And, comments like this is the reason why I do these lives all the time, bro. So I totally understand. Heartfelt understand. He said, man, if you rest some timeless for 8 or 9 years, they might be a decent and ready for your kid. And that's funny. I wouldn't do that to my kids, man. I couldn't imagine doing that to my kids. They definitely got to get a shark. They definitely got to get something from Principal. I mean, if I'm going to age anything, it's going to be an Andalusian bull. Imagine what kind of father I would be if I gave my kids, a Timeless or a Ferry Otego and had to wait that long. But the thing is, if I got one in there, it's probably going to age for like 8 to 10 years. So it might work out. We'll see. You never know, now that I think about it. Said Lil Wayne is great for that too. Yeah, Wayne is great for that. I love Wayne, but I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with Wayne, man. My favorite Wayne album is The Carter 2. But when I found out that Gilly the Kid wrote a lot of the Carter 2 and the Carter 1, it kind of took something out from me, man. Like having ghostwriters, I'm one of those hip hop purist cats that I can't stand the ghostwriting thing. So that took a major notch. I love Kanye. That took a major notch, from Kanye. LL, it took a major notch from LL. Same thing with Drake. Like when having a ghostwriter hurts, man. And it's like one of those things, like, because the whole thing about art is like what you can express. It's one thing if you're like writing pop songs and all that kind of stuff like that. Nobody cares if you have a ghostwriter. But the whole thing behind hip hop is that you're supposed to be able to come up with these bars by yourself, and you're supposed to be able to express, what you're feeling and articulate what you're feeling. So when somebody is writing something else for you and articulating, your feelings, it kind of takes something away from you, man. But I still love Wayne. Wayne is still talented, but that takes some away from that. But as far as like the diversity in his music, he went there. So you nailed it. What are you just talking about how you connect with the lyrics, with the emotion and the energy of the instrumentals? Like you said, it's very nuanced, and it's literally a science and an art. That's why I love music, man. Those science and art are my thing, and that's why I love music, dude. And like to see people with a skill set that know how to understand writing 16 bars and understand the difference in a 4-bar concept and 8-bar concept, and understanding staccato and patterns. Like if you really want to get into somebody that changed the way hip hop works, is I don't know how familiar you are with Rakim, but get into Rakim's story about like how he talked about how he was a saxophonist, and he was really into jazz, and he started writing his bars based on jazz patterns, and it literally changed the way people went from months ago, 5 years ago, I used to be an MC with the flow, and I used to rap, I used to rhyme, but now we're doing this on my own time. And he changed that to, I came in the door, I said it before, I never let the mic magnetize me no more, because it's fighting me, inviting me to rhyme. I can't hold it back. I'm looking for the line taking off my cloak, clearing my throat. Like, you see the difference in that? Like the way he stacked his bars and the way he timed it with it's phenomenal, dude. And he literally changed the way everybody rap. You get that to taking Rakim and it moved into Nas, and Nas was like, it's fake thugs, no love, they get the slug. See before gusto, your luck low. I didn't know till I was drunk though. You freak brothers played out. Get grenade out. Politic turn bitch. I got the gauge out. 96 ways I made out. Montana way to good. FALLA. Verbal AK spray. You see the pattern in that? Like you can see the evolution, just going from, Grandmaster Cass to Rakim to Nas, and then you can take that into a Black Thought, and just like the evolution of how all of that worked. Even with Eminem, like Eminem's early stuff, like the patterns that Eminem used to use was crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, man, that's the stuff I fall in love with, man. It's definitely an art form to it. Man, I'm enjoying this shark, man. Look, I tell you guys all the time, it went out because I was talking so much and rapping and shit. But I tell you guys all the time, like it's my favorite cigar, and how much I love the cigar. And sometimes like stuff like that could be hyperbole style, or you get to the point where you just kind of get caught up in your own hype. But this is really one of the best tasting cigars I've had in a long time, man. And like while I'm talking to you, the way that cherry note is staying behind, and it's a sweet tea flavor that is staying with the cigar. This is probably one of the best sharks that I've actually had in a long time, to be for real. All right, it's the perfect birthday cigar. The draw is good. It's creamy, it's smooth, and I've had sharks like they usually taste great, but I'm really not getting anything that has tasted like this one in a while. Like this is like the first time that I had a shark and I was blown away by it, or just the first time that I had, Arturo Fuente, a Don Carlos in general, and I was just like, what is this? This is different. I've never had one like this. This is that same feeling that I'm getting, Sal. So yeah, this is absolutely money. Hey man, work. Appreciate the birthday love, man. Let's see. If marriage was easy, everyone would do it. But with time, it sure does get easier. It does. Yes and no, and that's a good point. Let me say this. I think about like for me being married for, I would say 20 years. I've been married officially this year for 16 years. But when you think about 21, 22 years of being with the same person, you're not the same person that you was 10 years ago. So imagine how different you are from the person that you were 20 years ago. So when you grow up, your career changes, your body changes, your mind changes, your kids change you, your location change. You got to marry someone over and over again. And you got to find ways to fall in love with that person over again, because people mature and they change at different rates. So your spouse or your partner may evolve at a different pace than you're evolving. And it could be something little. It could be what you eat. It could be the music that you listen to. It could be what you like to do. It could be your hobbies. So you got to grow with that person as they're growing. And sometimes you got to sacrifice yourself to be able to say, like, I'm different right now, and I got to accept that you're different, and I got to accept that you're going to be different down the line. The person that you were looking at 20 years ago is not going to be the same person that you're looking at. When my wife first met me, I had locks all the way down to my shoulders, and I dressed with, bohemian clothes, and I listened to music all day, and I drew all day, and I was cooking all the time. I'm not that guy anymore. I'm not the same dude. My interests are different. I still love the art. I still like the way that I look, the way that I train. Like, everything is different. The style that she had when we first met, man, she was this girl blowing bubble gum with pigtails and all. Like, she's not that woman anymore. You know what I mean? So it's a fascinating thing that, like, and I was thinking about this like yesterday, man. Like, we were just going through, she's doing stuff for my birthday, and she went out of her way to get me a gift. And here's the other thing: my wife doesn't celebrate holidays. She doesn't celebrate birthdays. So she goes out of her way, because I grew up celebrating my birthday, to do stuff for me. You know what I'm saying? And so you think about those little things, and I'm like, yo, man, I'm lucky to have somebody that I would even want to spend 20 plus years of my life with, and plan to spend the next 20, 30, 40 years. Can you think about, like, being married to one person for 50 years? It's a fascinating thing, and it's not easy. Just like you said, it does get easier in a sense, but at the same time, there's some things that you got to understand, that you're going to change, and you're going to evolve, and you're going to grow. Sometimes people grow apart. Sometimes you got to fight to grow together. Sometimes you grow tighter when you have, like, family incidents, or you fall in love all over again, or you have, like, it's just a complicated thing, because human beings are complicated. I got to smoke a cigar to that one. Great point, though. On NF, I don't know if I'm just being slow right now, so let me know what the I won't put it up. Just let me know what the NF is for, because I'm not really sure about that one. Let's see. Yes, sir. Love is feeling, but it's also a choice too. Yeah, man, it's a crazy thing. That whole concept is fascinating when you think about, like, you don't necessarily choose who you fall in love with, but you choose how you love, and you choose how to love. So that's a complicated thing. I can get real philosophical on that one. I agree with that. Man, you were speaking big facts, dropping bombs, man. Just talking with my homies, man. We just in here chopping it up for my birthday, man. That's just what we do. Someone said, don't stop dating, flirting, and courting your partner after you get married. Seem to work for him. And it's true. But the thing is, man, it's like, the hard part is not to get complacent with that side of it. Just think about it. You wake up to the same person every day. You see the same person. You see their flaws. You see all the stuff that other people don't see. You see, when they not being clean. You see them when they're being lazy. You see when they're being frustrated. You see them when they're being moody. You see, like, the little ins and outs of people on a daily basis. And you see the patterns. You see what they do every day. You got to be able to, kind of not let yourself lose the romance, because when you're dating someone, like, it's another level of effort that you put into dating. Remember, like, when you would, get that late night phone call, you on the phone, you booed up for however long on the phone, like, yeah, man, I miss talking to you too. You only talk to him 20 My bad, yo. I don't even know how I did that. Y'all still with me? I have no idea. I was trying to wipe the ashes off of my laptop, and that happened, yo. So my bad. Anyway, I think what I was saying was like you got to find a way to like keep the romance there and to put the same effort into like dating as you did. Like when you used to get a text, you used to get hyped. Like, oh, I got a text. NF the rapper. I don't know NF. I don't know NF, man. I don't know NF. I gotta, if you get a chance, send me a text with NF's work because I don't know NF off the top. I know MF Doom. I don't know NF though. I'm here, yo. That was my bad. Y'all still with me? I didn't lose everybody, did I? That was my bad, yo. I tried to wipe the ashes off of my keyboard, man, and somehow it made me disappear. I'm still here, yo. My bad. All right, man. Okay. While I'm waiting for everybody to come back and I get back into the deep stuff right there, um, one thing about this damn cigar, man, is like, a lot of people talk about the retro hell and they talk about it like you don't really experience a cigar until you actually give it a real retro hell. One thing about the shark is the draw on your palate, just actually just tasting the cigar normally, like when you just taking your normal draw, is one thing. The retro hell is completely different on the cigar, and I think this is what Steve Saka was talking about when he was talking about Don Dorma, and he was talking about like he doesn't appreciate that cigar until he retro hells. With this cigar, with the shark, I actually appreciate the the regular, just draw on the natural palate. It's sweeter, it's fruitier, it's creamier, and it's just only a little bit of the spice that's in there. But when you retrohale, that's when you finally get the pepper and you get the wood. And the way that complements all the other flavors, the caramel and the cherry and the sweet baker spices and all that kind of stuff, like you get all of that like on the palate. But when you retrohale, that's when you get a little bit more of the aggression from this. And it's not like a hard, aggressive pepper. It's a very nice pepper. And the retrohale is a completely different cigar. So you almost get two cigars in one. You feel me? Am I being like too over the top and philosophical when it comes to like the cigar profiles and stuff like that? You never want to be that guy. But honestly, I love the nuances of this cigar. This is when I tell y'all this is my favorite cigar. It's many cigars that I love. I love the Bull, and y'all see my all-time list, and some of that has changed. And I think Don Dorma is becoming on my all-time list. There's some cigars like the Mi Querida that for the profiles that I can smoke, Le Carême that I can smoke all the time, and it's a bunch of cigars that I could have. Like I wish I could just do a huge top 10 list. I almost came back recently to do a top 10 list because I had an idea for one the other day, and I think the idea is gone because I was like, I'm not coming back to do that. But I almost did a top 10 review. I was this close to doing it. And just because I wanted to talk about all of these cigars that I had in my head at the time, I think if I remember correctly, I think the idea for the top 10 list, and y'all can tell me what y'all think about this, but it's the top 10 clean smoking cigars. And some cigars that you smoke, like the smell on it is so robust that it's all in your clothes, it's in your beard, it's in your nostrils and all that. And like when you present, like you smell like cigars and you taste like cigars, like all of that, like everything's like you just got cigar all over you. But that double Corona that I smoked last night was a really clean cigar. And I think I had the Wagashi recently and the Encore recently, the Crux, like they were just really clean cigars. And I feel like the Shark is like that. Like I feel like when I smoke that cigar, I don't smell like a bunch of smoke. I don't feel like it's like gonna be so abrasive to somebody that's sensitive to cigar smoke or something like that. And I almost sat down to write that top 10 list. and I didn't do it. And I was just like, I'm not coming back like that. I'm gonna stick to these lives. But I was really close to doing that. Let me get back to y'all comments while I was doing that. Sorry for the little sidebar. Feel you with hip hop. Can't look at artists the same when they don't write their own work. I'd rather have an artist who writes but isn't everybody's cup of tea versus a star that doesn't write and it's less respectable. And that's exactly how I feel too. So I totally agree with that one, Doug. So that's we on the exact same page with that. Doug said I definitely retro hell basically every draw for me. It's the only way with cigars. If you get a chance, bro, smoke this sharp and then go for a while when you're only just doing your normal draw on your palate. Taste the cigar for a while. Just kind of like, give it maybe, to the heart of the cigar. Don't retro. Just do your regular draw. Sorry. I think the majority of the time that I was doing the first part of this, I wasn't doing a lot of retroing. I was just, talking and just kind of embracing the cigar itself. And then go through a little bit further into the cigar and then start retroing. I put money it's a different cigar. And I would love to hear your opinions if you can take the time to do that. I would love to hear what you think about that whole process. Because for real, I'm just getting something totally different in like each way that I treat the cigar. Like I'm getting goosebumps by smoking the cigar. Like I'm getting happy. And I had that feeling last night too. Like when I'm smoking the double Corona, that was the first time in a long time that I was excited to smoke a cigar. So let me pose this to y'all. There's still 10 people in here. I'm sorry that I messed up earlier by kicking myself out. I know I pissed a lot of people off with that. My bad. But while y'all are still in here, what was the last cigar that got you like excited? Like, I felt like a kid in the candy store lighting that cigar up last night. I'm like, yo, I finally got this HDM double Corona, and it's just me. It's no camera. It's nothing. It's just me and the cigar. And I'm gonna sit up here and I'm gonna study Japanese, and I'm gonna sit on the porch, and I'm just gonna listen to the rain and smoke this cigar. And I tell you, every time I took a draw from that cigar, I got chills. And it's the same thing that's happening. Like each time I take, like if I wasn't sitting up here with y'all, like my eyes would be closed. Y'all remember that short that I did? Like where you can tell when somebody's loving a cigar and you're taking the time and you're looking at it. Or you're closing your eyes when you take a draw. That's the feeling that I'm getting from this cigar right now. And that's the feeling I had last night. Like I enjoyed every single puff. And I think the only time that I usually get that feeling, I get that feeling with music certain times when like certain songs kind of hit that way. And then you have like certain foods that get you in that, where you're just like, yo, I can't wait to take the next bite, and you're scraping the plate. So what cigars got y'all like that, where it got you just like excited just to have a cigar? Let me see what else we got here. I think I remember you saying that you watch anime. What are your favorite shows? I'm not as good with anime as a lot of people. I'm not quite otaku, especially being out here in Japan. I probably should be into a lot more anime than I am, because I'm an old school cat, and I still like I didn't get into like the Narutos. I didn't get into Demon Slayer, and I don't want to touch this again. I don't want that to happen. I didn't get into a lot of those, but Kurosawa does a lot of Japanese stuff, and I can't remember the dude that does the ones that my wife watches all the time. What's the one with the pelican or something like that? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. But my thing back in the day was Fist of the North Star. Like that was the movie that turned me on to it. And in my early 20s, I used to watch Princess Mononoke like every other day. So I do appreciate anime in general. Like I got to get back into Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is probably the one that got me the most excited recently. But when I talk to these Japanese kids, when I'm teaching them and all that kind of stuff, they're telling me stuff that I don't know anything about. So I need to get into it more. So if you got some suggestions for anime, put it up there, because it's some stuff that I saw recently that I gotta watch. I haven't had the time to really sit down and embrace it the way that I want to. Let me see here. Closeout no Wagashi, expensive, but that's my new first cigar recommendation. Mid and not offensive. Definitely a great cigar to practice retrohaling. Won't pepper bomb you either. No, it won't, man. And I wasn't a fan of that cigar when it first came out. Y'all probably are well aware that I was like, I even told Saka that was the first cigar of his that I was like, that I genuinely did not like. Well, actually, it was the second. But I don't really count the first one because I love the Sin Compromiso line. It was just a Vitola from that line that I didn't like. That being said, with the Wagashi, and like I took my time to like actually appreciate the cigar again. Shouts out to who sent me the last Wagashi that I had. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now, but it is a subtle cigar, and it does have some very nice, inviting notes. It's a slight sweetness to it. It's a very clean smoking cigar, so that is a plus. So I appreciate that a lot more. But I think in that moment when I was evolving into the place where I wanted lighter cigars, but at the same time, then I was smoking stronger cigars. So I was expecting something like the Sobremesa Brulee. And I'm glad Saka actually went in a different direction and didn't stay with, just doing, flavors that kind of stay with his normal baseline, like Muesha de Saka, Mi Carita, and Sin Compromiso. I'm glad he went left with that cigar. And I appreciate that. He needed that clean, lighter, milder cigar. So now that I've gotten into it a little bit more, I appreciate the Wagashi a lot more. Let's see. Boom, said, not gonna front. Arturo Fuente, God's Whisper was the first and only cigar that got me hyped. I have one hell of an ego. I like the way you put that too, man. That's dope. I haven't had the God's Whisper yet, man. I've been hearing good things about it. I don't get out of pocket with Opus X, but the hype that I've heard around that cigar, that God's Whisper is a God's Whisper. So, hey, man, we all got an ego to some degree. So it's nothing wrong with that. I'm not mad at that at all. He said, for the anime, Berserk for me, I've heard about Berserk, haven't watched it yet, but I think that might be the one that I want to check out if I'm remembering correctly. That's the one that I want to check out. Then One Piece. My son is into One Piece, so, but I'm so far behind on One Piece and One Punch Man that I was like, it's no way that I'm ever gonna catch up on those. So I feel like I missed that train, and I don't know if that's like the style of entertainment that I'm into. I'm into the grittier stuff, kind of like Attack on Titan and Fist of the North Star. That's a little bit grittier for me. And I think that's the lane that I'm more in. I think, One Piece is a little too hype. What's the other joint? Chainsaw Man or whatever that joint with the dude with the chainsaw head. I might be able to get into that because it's going to remind me more of like The Boys. That's the kind of stuff that I get into. So we'll see. I think back to the 90s in America, Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon were the only ones that really started it. And then Naruto definitely came on too. And I felt like I was too old for those. Maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like I was too old for those, and I get that. In the 90s, especially in the late 90s, I was like 18. So I was kind of growing out of it for that period. And don't get me wrong, I was still watching Toonami like everybody else and Adult Swim and all that kind of stuff. But I felt like I was kind of out. Dragon Ball, sorry, my connection went out. The weather's changing. But Dragon Ball used to piss me off, man, because they would get into a show and you would have like 3 episodes where it's just like a whole bunch of exposition and dialogue and talking and figuring out how to bring somebody back alive and traveling to a different realm. And then you got Frieza or a Cell or somebody that's approaching, or the droids approaching or something like that. And then like they get into a confrontation and it's like next time on Dragon Ball Z. And I'm like, and I'm pissed because Star Wars just did that to me last night with the Acolyte. I don't know if anybody's watching Star Wars right now, but Star Wars did that to me too last night. And I'm just like, I hate when they do that. Like, it's a way to do a cliffhanger, but don't give me a whole bunch of theory and exposition and build up, and then nothing happens. And then when we get to, you know, the big fight, and then nothing happens after that, and you just start the whole cycle all over again. Dragon Ball Z used to piss me off with that, bro. I just couldn't do it no more. Let me see what Matt is saying here. Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z is such a badass. I did used to love Piccolo. Piccolo was my guy too. I can't front on that. I always feel like Piccolo was from the hood. Said Bleach is good. Okay, I'm gonna keep Bleach in mind. Appreciate that. Texas Southpaw said Johnny Tobacco Nut still in Connecticut, but very flavorful, not bitter or acrid, chasing that next aha cigar. Everybody's chasing that cigar. It's tough with that dragon, man, to continually chase that. I did appreciate the tobacco nut when I first had it. Matter of fact, I think Matt was the one that sent that cigar to me some time ago. But I like the cigar. I don't absolutely love it, but I can appreciate it as a good Connecticut for sure. He said, I haven't had a cigar like that in a while, but definitely still looking forward to trying the Cuesta Rey. Cuesta Rey is really good. That El Baton is really good, man. And who was smoking that cigar? I think it was Bearded Cigar. I think Marvin was smoking that El Baton the other day while we were on the live, man. And I was so happy that he tried that cigar. That's a cigar that I thoroughly enjoyed, and it's a good price range. I wouldn't say it was a aha or a wow cigar, but I do love that cigar. Let's see. Kaguya-sama, love is war surprised me. I got to keep that one in mind. I don't know that one at all. It sounds like it'll be dope, though, just based on the title. That sounds like it'll be fire. It sounds like it will have a lot of Japanese culture in it and kind of give you a real insight on, like, you know, Japanese perspective put into an anime. But I'm just going based off the name. Christopher said, I'm pretty new to cigars, about a year in, but it would have to be the Casa Fuente 808 Maduro and the Herrera Esteli Norteño. Dude, it's funny that you say that, man, because like I did a show not too long ago where I was talking about like new classics, and I put the Norteño in as a new classic because I feel like that's a cigar that has been around long enough now that it's becoming a classic cigar. And it used to have a lot of hype when it first came out, and then it died off. But I think when people go back to that cigar, they'll realize that the Norteño is absolutely still money. So you got good taste, man, just to be starting out, man. You know, Casa Fuente, you definitely can't go wrong there. So you moving in the right direction to be only a year in, man. And I'm gonna give that, you know, to the new wave cats, and you know, the influence of people like Cigar Hound Dog, you know, really showcasing a lot of really good cigars, man. You know, Michael from Master Ash with his great reviews, like really putting people on to, like, you know, some of the best cigars that are out there. You're in the right community, Jack, man. Keep smoking good like that. That's outstanding, actually. Just beware, Berserk gets dark. I'm okay with dark, man. I'm okay with dark. What was the one from back in the day? Ninja Scroll, right? I came up in that era. You feel me? So dark, it is what it is, man. One of my all-time favorite movies is Halloween, and I was watching that as a kid. So dark is fine with me, man. I'm okay if the story is really good. And you know, I was just talking to the fellas about, this is not anime, but Baby Reindeer. That's dark. that shit got real dark, real fast. So I'm okay with that, man. I'm okay with that genre, and I'm okay with really dark storytelling. And I came up in the '80s, man. Like and there's not too much that's gonna like turn me off. Matter of fact, I don't know if y'all ever watch Korean revenge films. There's a movie based out of Korea. I think it's the same guy that made Old Boy. It's called I Saw the Devil. I don't know if y'all ever seen that. If you ever get a chance to watch it, that's the first movie that made me like cringe in my seat because it got so dark and brutal. Like it's wild. So, but it's a great movie on top of that too. Still would also like trying the Arturo Fuente Casa Cuba and Yeho Don Carlos as well. Dude, if you're gonna get into Fuente, only thing that I would add into that is to get into the Hemingway line as well. Those are some of my favorites out of the Arturo Fuente portfolio, just in general. I did that. I'm forgetting the name of my own show. This is how far away I am from making my own shows now. Like, what was the show that I used to do? I can't remember my own show. When I did the Arturo Fuente Buyer's Guide, the Buyer's Guide. When I did the Arturo Fuente Buyer's Guide, if I went back into doing the Buyer's Guide now, that's probably where I would lead people. Is everything that you just mentioned right there, plus the Hemingway, and just to get into the Arturo Fuente line. I probably wouldn't even touch on a lot of the Opus X. I would probably stay in that pocket right there, just to say like this is where you need to go to get into Arturo Fuente. So if you get a chance to get your hands on any of those, sit back, buy a 5-pack, and just smoke through them and really get the nuances of that. Because that's Arturo Fuente at his best, for real. Somebody feeling me right now like that to be continued BS is why I stopped watching Dragon Ball Z as a kid. Me too, bro. Me too. Like literally, that's why I was like, I can't do this to myself no more, man. I would get so angry. Like, yo, I just sat here for a whole episode and nothing happened. And then y'all gonna to be continue me on this? F out of here, man. So yeah, big facts. I see where you're going right now. Have I seen Terrifier films? Yes. Part 3 is coming out in October. Art the Clown is straight savage. Art the Clown is the best horror character that's come out in years. Back in the 80s and the 90s, we had Michael Myers, we had Jason, we had Chucky, we had Freddy Krueger, we had not Slender Man, what's Tall Man. Like we had like great people like these antagonists in horror movies. Sinister didn't do it. Babadook didn't do it. Like you had a lot of these movies that were trying to get that, like you got this creature. I felt like Jeepers Creepers was on the way to doing it. They was close, but they went off the deep end. Terrifier and Art the Clown did it right. That's the first time that we've finally gotten a villain in horror movies that felt right. That felt like, okay, this dude is terrifying. He's creepy, and he has the personality to make you want to see the next episodes. Like that's one of the best trilogies that's going right now. I can't wait to see part 3. I really enjoyed Terrifier. Like I really enjoyed that. Yeah, Old Boy was absolutely phenomenal, man. That's a great one. If you like Old Boy, then you gotta watch I Saw the Devil. Same guy from Old Boy is in I Saw the Devil. Old Boy is wild. Y'all know I used that like when I was actually doing reviews. When I put what was the cigar that I had when I was the M81. I felt like the dude from Old Boy when I was trying to smoke that M81. Like I was fighting that cigar. Like it was a fight to get through and review that cigar. Like I felt like that cigar was whooping my ass the whole time. And it just the amount of fortitude that it took me to get to the end of that cigar and to complete that review for y'all. I don't know how many people watched my videos all the way to the end, but I put that Old Boy in there just to kind of signify and personify like how I felt about that whole process of smoking that cigar. That was easily one of the toughest reviews that I had to do, just because that cigar was like a bitter mess. And every time I had to draw that cigar and to get through the mindset to complete that review, it was just rough. And I felt like, oh boy, like when he went into that alleyway and he was just getting stabbed in the back and getting punched in the nose and getting beat with sticks, and he just had to keep going through and keep fighting. That's the way I felt, bro. It felt just like, oh boy, real. I felt like I was trapped in that room too. God, that was rough. For me, the strongest flavors I've had was probably the LFD Double Ligero. It was definitely potent, oily, and moist. And just the way that you describe that, Doug, is pretty much what you're going to get from Ligero in general. You get that really oily, thick, earthy, just really robust flavor profile from Ligero that only Ligero tastes that way. So if you're not used to that on the palate, it definitely is going to be prominent, and it's definitely going to change the way you look at cigars, especially if you were smoking lighter sticks beforehand. That Ligero just it punches. And I actually, me personally, I like the taste of Ligero. Some people can't stand it. Like, it's too earthy and it's too bitter and it's too dark and too oily and too strong for a lot of people. And I get that, but I like that flavor sometimes. And LFD does it right when it comes to Ligero, and just when they can do those robust flavors. For me personally, I would rather LFD over Padron that likes to do those dark, coffee-esque flavors. I would take LFD, guy. I feel like LFD does that right. Matt said, Kaiji is my favorite anime of all times. Essentially where Squid Game got its. Oh, that sounds like it'd be dope because I love Squid Game. So I definitely got to watch that. The only thing, man, is just I haven't had time to sit down and dissect and really get into anime the way that I want to. But I need to do it. What I want to do is start watching all these animes in Japanese, just so I can get my listening skills for Japanese up, because it's really difficult. And I feel like these shows will keep me entertained. And I don't know if any of you guys have seen Godzilla -1 yet. Godzilla -1 is great for that. It's because it's just a great storyline and it's easy to follow. But when I watched it in Japanese the first time, I caught some of it. But when I went back and watched it with the English subtitles, it was so much better. It was so much nuance in that. So I really want to get to where I can watch it and understand Japanese. So Kaiji sounds like it's something that I need to get into the same way. Casa Fuente Cameroon is fire. I mean, look, it's Fuente Cameroon, Sal. Like, like what you expect, bro? That's what we can expect from that. Candyman scared the F out of me. Yeah, Candyman messed up a lot of people, bro, back in the day. I feel bad that I didn't think about Candyman as one of the greats from the 90s, as far as like being one of the great horror villains that was in there. Candyman should definitely be in there. I went back and watched Candyman probably last year just to kind of see it again. It was still a great movie. And it's still like one for, just the ages, as far as like how, movies age and, how they fit into the lexicon of horror greats and all, and movie greats and all that. But I felt like Candyman and Darkman was like, kind of trapped in a 90s time capsule. They feel like 90s movies, which is not a bad thing. Sometimes you need movies to fit within their era. And I think Candyman still it holds up really well, but it feels like a 90s time capsule to me. Hey, y'all showing love to Candyman. He said, I'm 36 and I still want to say that issues is in the bathroom mirror. Hey, man, don't be a bitch. Go try it. Go say Candyman right now. I want to see if you come back. Did y'all ever do that? Like back in the day, did y'all ever try the Bloody Mary and the Candyman thing? Were y'all ever like bold enough to do it? Because we used to be in the room. Like, it used to be funny. Like, the kids from my neighborhood, we would be telling ghost stories and telling horror stories and stuff like that. And we would try to dare each other to go into the bathroom. And it was like, yo, you go in the bathroom, we got to hear you say, Bloody Mary, however many times with it. And it was always somebody that was, bold enough to do it. I was scared, but I was always the one to do it, man. But I saw a whole lot of stuff in my youth anyway. So like somebody coming out of a mirror wasn't like too scary for me. I miss that, man. I miss that vibe. One thing I love about Japan got a lot of like, got a lot of stories about people being in the woods and a lot of spirits that are being out there. Real quick before I get to the other comments, this is the first time I got scared in a long time. I don't know if I told the story online yet. So there was like when I lived in Kanagawa, I lived in Zushi. Right next to my house, the woods had this old burial ground. Like literally, I could just walk out of my house, walk down the street into this woods and walk up these steps. And this path would lead you all over Zushi. Like it could take you to the beach, it could take you to the city center, and like you're literally just in the woods. And it's this old burial ground that's out there. It's like old artifacts, Japanese artifacts, it's just sitting out there, and they got the whole place mapped out, but it's no light. So like if you're walking through there at night, you can't see shit. Like, and it's pathways that can just take you. And if you get in there, you can get lost in the woods. And they were always talking about the different kami that lived in these woods and the different spirits and things like that lived around in these woods. And I'm agnostic, right? I've seen a ghost in my lifetime that I can say that like I know what I saw wasn't human, but I can't prove that that it exists. But I don't have any fear of this kind of thing. And I know you don't see this kind of thing often, right? But when I first moved to Japan, I was going for a run. So, I had probably been in Japan for maybe a week or 2 weeks. And I knew that there's woods outside of my house. I knew that I can take one of these paths to get back to my house, right? So I got lost on my run. I'm doing like a 2-mile run. So I'm like 2 miles away from my house. And I go for a run and I get lost. Like I don't know how to get back to my neighborhood. Like I'm at a crossroads. It's literally like an intersection. And I'm like, I can't tell which way is the right way to get to my house. I got 4 different directions, 3 now because I'm coming from one way. And I was like, I don't know which road to take to get back home. So there was this pathway that like you could walk up these stairs and it led to an overpass over this tunnel that I just ran through. And I knew that if I walked through that path, I can take that path to get back to my house. I just had never done it before. So I walk up the steps and the street lights, the further I walked up the steps, the less visible it got. The street lights was getting so far away and these steps just kept going up. And then it would turn off and then it would go up again. And I know I had to walk like 3 or 4 stories of stairs up. And I'm in the middle of the woods, yo, and it's dark. It's pitch black. I can't like see my hand in front of me. It's so dark. And I'm like, I don't know how to get the fuck out of here. Luckily, I had my cell phone on. I'm like, yo, do I go back? Imagine you've been running for 2 miles. And then I just walked up 4 flights of steps. And I'm like, I got to walk all the way back down, or I got to go through these woods and try to find if I would have went through those woods, I would have been lost. And the hair was standing up on the back of my neck. And like I had to call my wife. I was like, yo, you got to come get me, yo. I don't know how to get home. But I can't lie, yo. I was shook. I was shook daddy, yo. That shit scared the hell out of me, man. And we walked through those woods like, years later after being in Japan for 4 years. And I was like, yo, if I would have walked through these woods, I would have been stuck. I can make a horror movie just off of those woods that I was in. Just the feeling that you had, that feeling when somebody's watching you. That's what it felt like. I could feel people watching me, but I couldn't see shit. And the only thing I knew was where the stair steps were that were like right in front of me, man. I was like, I can either go back or I can keep going. And I stayed there for like 10 minutes trying to figure out which way to go. And I was like, man, fuck it. I'm gonna have to walk down these stairs and I'm gonna call my wife. I'm gonna have to just turn straight, bitch. It is what it is. So yeah, that happened. I find I like puros better than mixed blends. Nicaraguan puros are my favorite. Now I feel you on that. I like puros too, and I kind of feel that way about Cubans. But there's so many different flavors that I like Brazilian tobacco, like the Mexican tobaccos are really good. And I feel like, man, certain people just like, make certain blends. So there was some I had recently that had Criollo in it. Oh, it was the Barber Amarilla, the Muestra de Saka. That blend was so complex. And I felt like Steve Saka was just taking a whole bunch of different leaves. I think it's like 7 different tobaccos in that. And I love that one. So I appreciate puros too. But sometimes you want to get, different flavor profiles in there and different combinations. So I like it all. But I'm not mad at that, man. I'm not mad at your palate for feeling that way either, man. My man said I revisited the Alien. It still holds up. The score of that movie is amazing. Alien is one of the best movies ever made. Not even just as a horror. It's just one of the best movies. I'm still in love with Sigourney Weaver to this day because of that movie. Like, it's the way they built tension in that movie and the way they did like the heroics of that movie. Just Sigourney as a heroine in that movie was phenomenal, right? You feel me? But just the xenomorph at that time was a masterpiece in practical effects. And just the tension they build in that. Like, I need to go back and watch that again. I told you guys that I'm still working on the show. I just haven't had the chance to do it. I'm working on a new channel called 80s Remote, and I cannot wait to review Alien because I probably haven't seen Alien in maybe 10 or 15 years. So it's still part of a nostalgia for me. So I want to do that comparison of like how I felt watching that as a kid for the first time. And I used to watch it on network TV, so I still get Alien and Aliens kind of mixed up in my head. So I want to go back and watch them again in a way where it's like I can isolate Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3 to so that I can really separate those movies in my brain again and really give a full breakdown and review on that. But absolutely, Alien is one of the all-time greats, bro. All-time great. He said, I made my little cousin pee on herself with the Bloody Mirror stuff. That is hilarious, bro. That's the stuff that I like, man. I'm sorry I'm behind on these chats, man, but like that's the stuff that is great to me. That's the stuff that I love, man, having stories like that. I scared my little cousin. He hated horror movies. My cousin Zach, he hated horror movies. He's like my little brother. So we were watching Friday the 13th. And we were actually watching one of the best ones. We were watching Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. So when we were kids, this cat named Ben Rutherford, we would go to the store around Halloween. Like in my neighborhood, there was like a Roses, and there was a CVS and a Food Lion that was in my neighborhood that we could just walk over into the shopping center and we would go buy Jason masks. And you remember back in the day, like in the 90s, they would just give you the all white Jason mask. So what we would do, we would take lighters and we would cut it, like we would cut the chunk out. We would cut the axe mark in the Jason's mask. We would put the red triangle up there and we would burn the mask. And we would, like, if you used like the this one doesn't have it. If you use the yellow flame, you can actually put soot on the mask and we would rub it in dirt and we would put the soot on it and we would make it all gnarled up and we would burn it along the sides. I'm going to do this one year just so y'all can see this. Just so y'all can see what this looks like. And we would have these masks that were made up. And like we would walk around in the woods and we would scare people with it. So my cousin was watching Friday the 13th, Part 4. So the way my TV was set up, we had one of those old floor-mounted TVs. And we had a window that was right behind that, right behind the TV. So I snuck out of the room while he was watching Friday the 13th. I know he's scared. So I go in my room and I get the Jason mask and I go put it on and I go walk outside. And I just stand in the window while he's watching the movie. And he looks up and he sees me standing in the window with the Jason mask on. Scared the shit out of this kid, dude. I still die laughing. He's what? 4 years behind me, I think. So he's just about to turn 40. He's like 39 right now. He still brings it up to this day that I scared him. Like he won't watch horror movies to this day because of that. I fucked him up. That's the stuff that I love right there, man. That's the stuff that I just love doing shit like that, man. That's a great one. What did you think about the finale of the Mavericks versus Celtics send-off last night? I thought the Mavs did great getting to the finals, but were definitely outmatched. But Luka and Cole will still probably get a ring soon. I don't think they're gonna get a ring. Let me get into my sports talk real quick. I hope y'all don't mind me doing the sports talk. So I felt like the Mavs weren't really coached very well. After they took out some of the bigger teams, on the West, I thought they were a much better team than I thought. But I said earlier that they weren't a great defensive team. Luka is not a great defender. Kyrie is not a great defender. And the better defenders on that team were all young, like Derek Lively. Um, they're young. They're just a young team. So when you're going up against a team like the Celtics, that everybody on that team has firepower, from Tatum to Jaylen Brown to Pritchard to Drew Holiday to Porzingis to Al Horford to Derek White. Like, think about how many players that I'm naming off right now, just off the top of my head. All of those dudes can score. All of them are big. All of them are defenders. Like, it was just, they were just overmatched. The thing about the Boston Celtics is that they have to beat themselves. You have to take their morale out of that team like the Warriors did a few years back in order to beat them. And that only happened in one game. And you saw the one game that they took their morale out of them, that they got blown out. And if you do that, if you take away their mental ability, then they can't play. But if they have any confidence, they will shoot you out of the gym and they will defend you to the point that you're locked down. They locked down Kyrie, and they made Luka look bad. And I know Luka scored a lot of points, but he didn't look good in that series to me. Not just because he was injured. He just, like, the plays that they were running, man. I don't think Jason Kidd did a good job. I think they made him play too much ISO ball, and they didn't move the ball very well. And the defense from the Celtics just took out, their lob game, so they couldn't play inside out. So it just really made it was styles make fights, and they were just completely unmatched in the mental fortitude and the physical strength of the Celtics. So it was only one way that series is going to go based on that. And I was hoping they had more to them than that, but I don't know if they're going to be able to retool enough to be able to get back, because defense wins championships, free throws wins championships, and team play wins championships. And that's their deficiency. They can score. They can score all day. They got the talent to score. But when your team can't hit free throws and they can't defend, it's no way they're going to win. And in order to score, if you shut down their two best players, who else is going to score on that team? And you saw that's what happened, especially in the last game. They shut down Kyrie, and they frustrated Luka. And the only thing they could do is put Luka on an island. He can't play 48 minutes like that. It's impossible. It's impossible. So you can let Luka get 30 points. But after that, who's going to score the next, 50 points on the team? Who's going to score you can't get them enough to get to 100 points like that. Like, to lose in the final game at 88 points is crazy. It's crazy. But you can't do that when your two best players get shut down. And Drew Holiday need to get a lot of love, man, because Drew Holiday was phenomenal. Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown was good, but for me, the real game changers that were on the Celtics was Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Derek White. Every time that somebody would make a run on the Mavericks, Derek White would shut them down. Not just defensively, but he would come and hit a big shot. He would come and hit a timely shot. And Pritchard would hit a timely shot. Or Drew Holiday would have a great defensive play. It's just like, and in the previous games, in the first three games, the first two games, was Kristaps Porzingis. Like, that's what really made the series to me. But that's my take on that, man. I don't know how y'all feel. I would love to hear what y'all thought about that whole series. And I don't know what I'm going to do now. I'm sick now that NBA basketball is done. I'm enjoying the WNBA, but, like, I'm sick not having my basketball, man. Let's see. Michael Myers has the best cardio in horror. He would have got you. Yo, and the scene from one of the older joints when Michael Myers, like, let himself down with one arm, like, hanging from the rafters, is always, like, that movie was horrible, but that's, like, one of the best scenes. When Michael Myers actually picked up the ball and hung him up with the knife. Like you couldn't do nothing with Mike, man. He ain't never run, but he will walk you down. But I don't think any of these horror, villains would ever get me. I honestly feel that way. Like, I don't know. I come from the hood. The moment we see something ain't right, we out of there. And, you know, the moment I see like, oh, there's blood on the wall, let's go. We out. The moment I see some weird dude in a mask, yo, let's go. We out. It ain't no standing around. He ain't catching me. Y'all never seen my athleticism. The way I hop over fences, the way I can jump over cars, ain't nobody catching me, Jack. It ain't happening. You ain't catching the kid. Nah, ain't no way. I'm from the block. I made it out of the hood, running from police, running from cats with guns, running from the neighborhood bullies. I'll stand and fight. I'm not scared of too many people, but I'm also smart. And if I see somebody that can, you know, hang down from a rafter with one arm, I know I can't beat him. He's not catching me, period. It ain't no way. That's just the way I feel about that. As a kid, the Tales from the Crypt opening sequence was terrifying. Still kind of gives me the creeps. Yeah, dude, I used to watch that all the time. My favorite one, I think I talked about it up here before, was the basketball player. Remember the dude that, like, his dad ran like a mortuary or something like that? Or it was, I don't know if it was his dad. But he went to work for the guy that made coffins, and come to find out the dude was a sociopath, and he killed him and he cut off his feet. And he had the brand new Air Jordans that came out at that time. It was the Jordan 4s. And he had the red and black Jordan 4s that just got released. And they put him in that episode. And I remember that joint where he was on crutches and he was a zombie and he was and the Jordans was walking down the stairs. That's always my favorite episode of Tales from the Crypt. I always think about that episode when that comes up. I used to watch that religiously, man. Like, I'm a latchkey kid. I was 7 or 8 years old. My kids have no concept of that. I used to watch HBO at night and Tales from the Crypt and the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street series and all that. I used to watch all that shit as a kid, man. I don't know how I got away with doing all that shit. I had a friend named Cody who used to have something called night terrors. Oh, I had night terrors too. So did my two daughters. My brother too. My brother was a sleepwalker and my dad was a sleepwalker. I scared the life out of him because I took it as a joke and he didn't let it go until he was in our 20s. And man, night terrors ain't no joke, man. It's no joke, dude. And like my brother has severe night terrors and he was a severe sleepwalker. So like I used to joke on him about it, man. But like that's not something you play with. Now that I think about it, now that I'm older, like you really like, have any of you guys ever experienced night paralysis or sleep paralysis or whatever they call it? That's probably one of the most terrifying things that you can ever experience. And imagine going through that, like waking up in fear and then waking up to the point where you're paralyzed. Like that, like it's not a lot that scares me, but I like to imagine having that kind of terror. Like when you first wake up, like you don't know whether you're still in this horror or whatever that you was just dealing with. And when you wake up, you stuck and you can't do anything, or you wake up and like somebody's fucking with you when you first wake up. It's crazy. I did the same thing to my cousin Zach, man. He ain't never let that go either, man. So I totally feel you on that. But night terrors is no joke, man. You got to shoot Cody some bail, yo. Because if you never experienced that, dude, you don't know what that feels like. That, like, you don't, when you first wake up, like the world is after you. Like you can't let that terror go. Your heart rate is still up. Your adrenaline is still pumping. You still in full panic mode, G. I said I have an interest in cryptids, paranormal, ET, and supernatural as well. Been wanting to finish getting the spirit kit. I think it could be good times ghost hunting. It's very intriguing and entertaining, at least. If you ever film any of that, I would watch it. If you ever get deep into it, I would love to see what you come up with and what you look. I mean, it's one of those things to me that's like, as an agnostic person, I gotta have proof of something before I wholeheartedly go into it and believe it is what it is. But I have a belief that there's things out there that we don't understand, that we haven't seen clearly. Back when I was a kid, I used to get all the books on cryptids like Chupacabra and the Loch Ness Monster and Champs and all of that kind of stuff. I used to read up on all of that kind of stuff, and it's kind of fascinating where most of that stuff I don't think we're ever gonna get an answer to it. Like the stuff with the farm animals being mutilated and all that kind of stuff. Like I don't think we will ever really truly get an answer. I don't know if I ever believe in that now that I'm older that Bigfoot is real. But then when you see stuff like like the Kraken, when the colossal squid and the giant squid actually truly exist, and we thought for years that was fake. Sooner or later, we're going to come up on something that we've never seen before. And it's not going to be cryptid anymore. Just to think on a small scale, like the Okapi, that, African people and tribes used to tell people that there was an animal that looked like a zebra and a giraffe mixed together that exists in the woods. And these colonizers came over like, yo, these motherfuckers bullshit and these people crazy. The Okapi actually exist. So sooner or later, some of this cryptic stuff is actually going to come to pass. And I talk about it all the time, and I know it seems weird to kind of talk about this kind of stuff. Nobody ever believes it. But two things that I can say for sure that I've seen in my lifetime, that I've seen unidentified flying objects. I've actually seen it with my own eyes. Matter of fact, before I left Fresno, I saw one of the craziest things in the sky that I've ever seen. It was a bunch of pink lights that were just in the sky, and they were just moving around. They were circling around. There was a lot of them. I would say just estimated just off the top of my head, it was 7 to 8 of these lights just in the sky. And they're not like stars. They were hot pink. And they were against a evening sunset sky. So there's that dark blue indigo color. So hot pink is going to be contrasted with that. It stands out. So these lights are literally sitting in the sky, and they're moving. They're not sitting still. They're moving, but they're slowly moving. Like they would kind of drift, or they would just kind of sit still and they would kind of drift a little bit. And there was another one that was in the left part of the sky. There was a park that was next to my house. It was a school that had a park. And there was one that was flying across the sky. I mean, this thing was moving. And I'm sitting smoking a cigar. I'm sitting in front of my house. I used to sit in front of this house that I was living in because I couldn't smoke in the house. So I would just sit there and I would just sit and watch the neighborhood. And I'm just looking at the sky and I'm just watching these lights. And I'm like, do I get up right now and go tell the people in the house what I'm seeing so they can see the shit too? But I feel like if I get up and move, it's going to be gone. So while I'm sitting there, I'm watching this pink one, just this single light floating across the sky, and it's moving. Like it's moving faster than a plane, a flash faster than a helicopter, faster than a jet can move. I mean, this thing is trucking. And I'm watching it. And when it gets to the other group circles around. They all come together and they take off. Just like that, they're gone. And I'm sitting right here like, if I explain to anybody what I just saw, nobody's going to believe this. There's no way anybody's going to believe this is real. But I know I'm as plain as I'm sitting here having a cigar with y'all. Matter of fact, I was smoking a La Madrina, a Dapper that I had just got from there. I remember the cigar I had and everything. I'm sitting and I'm watching this shit happen in the sky, dead in front of me. And like, if I record this, it's not going to be clear. If I get up and go get somebody, it's going to be gone by the time I get back to my seat. So I just sat there and watched it. And I know I'm not crazy. I know what I saw, especially at the speed that thing was going across. And when they got together in a cluster and they all took off at light speed, just vanished. And I was like, yo. And I've never seen anything like that. How do you explain it? How do you tell somebody what that was? It is what it is. You know what I mean? But, and I'll tell you my ghost story in a minute too. Let me get to everybody's comments. Like I said, I remember 2 episodes of Tales from the Crypt, the one with the twins that got cut in half after cheating, the one with Jada Pinkett Smith. I don't remember the one with Jada Pinkett. I do want to watch that. But I do remember the one with the twins. I vaguely remember it, but I definitely remember that. Sure. Did y'all ever watch, what was it, Tales from the Dark Side? The one that had Rae Dawn Chong when she was the gargoyle. Do y'all remember that episode? That's still, I'm still in love with Ray Don Chong, but that's one of my favorite things. He said, I'm also agnostic. I just don't understand how humans can say they know who God is, but can't explain the universe. That makes no sense. And yeah, man, I feel like, for the unknown for people, just as human beings, we have to create an answer for the unknown. What makes me an agnostic is that for something that, for me, that if it's unknown, I leave it as unknown. Like, I don't know what happens after I die. There's no way for me to get that answer. So I leave it as what it is. But somewhere down the line, there is a way to scientifically use the scientific method to prove things. But if somebody is able to get footage of, a giant squid, or if they're able to get real footage of something existing in the woods, then I'm here for it. Like, just say with the thylacine, I got a feeling that still exists, and I think it's in some remote parts of New Zealand or Tasmania that they still exist. And I'm willing I'm to bet that at some point in time somebody's gonna get footage of it, just like somebody captured the coelacanth. At some point in time, certain things that we've never thought were facts is gonna come true as facts. Some of the things is like I can't believe it until I see it for myself. I said the universe is way below God. You can't explain it, but God, get real. I look, man. I try not to take away from what other people believe, because I look at it in this sense that, like, just with me telling that story about this weird thing that I just saw, right? Nobody's gonna believe it, but I saw it for myself. I can't create some religion based behind that for having somebody, to try to convince people that it was real. I just got to accept what I saw is real. So other people, what they have in their faith, that's on them. If that's what you believe, something had to give you enough proof to give you faith in it, so be it. But I can't operate like that. I can't believe that there's some, pie in the sky or some, human being that was able to, like, wave his hand and create light. That's not for me. But I can't tell other people not to be in that same, what's the thing? Remember drive-in movies? I remember a UFO flying near the screen and projecting light. It seemed like only the kids were able to see the light and the object in the sky. I know it wasn't in my head. Here's the thing. There is proof in science that kids can hear at a higher frequency and they can see at a higher frequency than adults. So that makes perfect sense to me. There was just the light and the sound was just at a frequency that only the kids could see it. But also we got a thing as adults and older people who we will dismiss things as well too. And even if we saw it, if we can't explain it to the kids, we'll say it didn't happen. So that kind of thing happens too. So I've seen a UFO actually drop a beam down before, and I had to be like 13. My cousins was in the car with me, and my mom saw it. So I wasn't the only one that saw that one, but my mom won't speak on it. My mom won't talk about it, even though she has a story from something that she saw when she was a kid too. She tells me the story all the time, and I think I told it on one of these lives before. Yeah, and I believe that's the case, man. I believe that's the case. I lost a lot of people talking about this cryptic thing. Like, I lost a lot of viewership here, but I still think it's a fun topic. I like talking about cryptids, the same way I like talking about cigars and music. So this is fun to me too. So I'm sorry that I lost some of the audience, but I still think this is a fun topic. I think I told this story on the live before, but I'll tell it again here. When I lived in Newport News, Virginia, I was a kid. We moved into this house. Maybe it was Hampton. It was on the line between Hampton and Newport News, but I can't tell you. I remember the street name. It was Victoria Boulevard. And in the neighborhood that we lived in, there was a serial killer that was active at the time. He was killing women. My mom never told me about this. I didn't know. I didn't know until, like, I got into true crime and all that stuff as I got older, right? I got into all this true crime and all that kind of stuff like that. And I found out there was a serial killer that lived in my neighborhood, and it was killing a bunch of women that was on the street and got away with it for a long time. So that was scary within itself. But this house that we moved into, my mom got this house for next to nothing. And it was a huge house. We had a fireplace. We had a front yard, backyard. We had a garage that was in the back, like a drive-in garage that was separate from the house that you could drive and park your car into. My mom would never go into this garage. And she was chopping wood for the house one day. So she would chop down the trees, literally in the yard. She would chop down the trees and she would cut it into wood so that we could keep the house warm. This house stayed cold. I remember being a kid. I had to be maybe 4 to 5. I was in that age bracket, somewhere around there. It's early 80s. And we would have to go to bed in a skull cap. We had to go to bed in sweaters and long johns because it was so cold at night that you could see our breath when we like try to go to sleep. So some nights we didn't even sleep in our bed. We would have to sleep by the fire. So my mom would be outside chopping wood to keep the house warm, right? So she would tell me that when she was outside chopping wood, especially if she was doing it at dusk or at night, she said she felt like somebody was watching her. And she always felt like somebody was watching her from the garage that was in the back. And she said she just had an eerie feeling, but she had to do what she had to do to keep us warm. So she would call like her boyfriend at the time that lived in the neighborhood down the block. And she would ask us like he was playing practical jokes. Because one day she was out there chopping and she said she heard a knocking that went all the way from the side of the garage all the way up the side of the house. And she was like terrified that somebody was like messing with her. So one day I'm in the crib, and this is gonna sound wild. One day I'm in the crib, I'm asleep, and I don't know if I didn't have school that day or if I got out of school early. You know, when you're in kindergarten or whatever, you get out of school early. So she went to pick my brother up. My brother's 5 years older than me. She went to pick my brother up from school. So I wake up out of my nap and nobody's home. My brother's not there. My mother's not there. And when I'm walking around the house, I'm nervous just because my mom isn't there, just like any kid. So I'm calling for my mom. I'm like, Mom, where are you? Mom, whatever. And I can't find her. So I go into the living room. And in the living room, my father has this old chess table that I have in the house right now that's older than I am. That thing got to be like 50 or 60 years old. It's a marble chess set. I'm sitting at a marble chess set and I'm crying and I feel like somebody's watching me. And I look out the window, the front bay window, and I don't see anything. And I look at another window that's towards the back of the house. And the guy, there's a guy that looks like his face looks like a pig. Like he has a pig face. And he's wearing overalls. And he pops up and he jumps up. And I can see him looking at me through the window. The same, it's funny, it's ironic, it's the same way that I scared my cousin years later, but like it's funny that now I think about it telling the story. But when he pops up and he's just staring at me. And there's a movie called The Fortress. If you go back, it's an old 80s movie. That was an old TV movie where these guys used to wear masks. One dude had a pig mask, one dude had a clown mask, one dude had a Santa Claus mask or something like that. And they took over the school. They were like terrorists, took over a school. I was always terrified of this movie, but this is before I saw this movie. Whatever popped up in that window that day did not have a mask on. It was an actual pig face, and it was wearing overalls, and I could see it from the chest up. And I remember sitting at that chess table, and I jumped up, and I was terrified. So I'm watching it watch me, and I sit back down, and I cover my eyes because I'm terrified. I'm crying, and when I look up, it's gone. And as soon as I look up, and it's gone, the front door behind me opens up. And I think it is coming in to get me. And my mom and my brother walk in. And I remember running to my mom and holding on to her. She was like, boy, what is wrong with you? You look like you saw a ghost. I can remember what my brother had on. My brother had on a black bomber jacket with the orange on the inside. He had a gray skull cap on. And I remember looking at him and I got tears streaming down. I'm terrified. I just knew I was dead. I knew whatever that thing was that was looking at me was coming to get me. And I can still remember, like to this day, I'm 44 years old. And I can still feel the same fear that I had at that time, that whatever that was coming in the door. And my mom was like, I've never seen you that scared before. And I've told the story a billion times, and nobody will ever believe this. My mom believes me because I would go to sleep at night in my bed, and there would be another being that used to come in the room. This is the weird story. I can't believe I'm telling this on a live, on camera, so people can actually like record the shit. But this thing used to come in my room, and it would sleep beside my bed every night. Because before that, one day, like I came up out of my covers. I used to sleep under my covers because I was so scared of all the stuff that I was seeing in this house, that this guy came through my wall, and I could see through the wall one day. I could see the trees on the outside, and I could see the neighbor's house clear as day through the wall, because we slept in bunk beds, and the space in between the bunk beds, I could see through. And this entity came through the wall. He had a twisted mustache. He had a long chin. He had a really big smile, and his hair was slicked back. And I described this person to my mom. When we moved out years later, she told me, she was like, remember that story you told me about the man that you saw that came into your room? I was like, yeah, like that really happened. I'm not making the story up. She said, I never told you this. She said, but when we were moving, I cleaned out my attic, and I found the guy's driver's license. He died in that house, and he looked exactly like you described him. He had the bow tie, he had the big smile, he had the handlebar mustache, and he had his hair slicked back. She said, I never told you that when you told me about it as a kid. She said, when you told me that, it freaked me the hell out, because I actually saw that this man died in his house, and his driver's license looked exactly like what you described. And she said, we got the house for next to nothing because nobody, wanted to buy the house because the man died in it. And it's one of those things. It's like, why would my mother make that up? Why would you make that part of the story up? And she told me years later down the line. But I've seen some weird stuff in my 44 years of being on this planet. But that's one of the craziest things that I've ever witnessed and ever had corroborated by somebody that I trust. You feel me? So that house, like to this day, my mom still won't. She went back before my aunt passed away, because my aunt lived in that area of Virginia for a long time. They went back to that house just to kind of see if it was still around, if it was still up. And they changed the exterior and all that kind of stuff. But my mom would not walk in that house. She would not go back. The lady that lived there at the time was like, yeah, you can come in and take a look and walk around. Blah, blah. My mom was like, nope, you're not getting me in that house, period. So we lived there for years, freezing cold. We could have the heat going. We could have the fireplace rolling, and we would still have to sleep under our covers, have to sleep in toboggans and shit like that to stay warm. But that's my little ghost story. And this is coming from somebody that's completely agnostic. That I'm similar to you. I say somewhere between spiritual and agnostic, but I definitely don't subscribe to conventional organized religion in traditional sense, although I do enjoy the topic of. Yeah, me too. And it matters to me because my wife is extremely religious and I'm agnostic, and we have to work together and raise our kids in that same vein. And I grew up, with Southern Baptist family. So I have a concept, my cousins are Muslim. So I have a concept of all these different religions. Matter of fact, I became agnostic because when I was in elementary school, I was studying to be a Muslim at the time. I stopped eating pork and then, all that kind of stuff. And, my cousins used to subscribe to the NOI, FOI, what's the Dr. Malachi Z. York and all that kind of stuff. So that's the stuff that I was learning, the gods and earths, 5%ers and all that kind of stuff. But it never really made sense to me. So when I got into high school, when I was a freshman, I picked up a book called World Religions. And I read on everything from Shinto to Taoism to Buddhism to Islam, Judaism. And I read everything that I could. And my thing was, it's like, if there's one supreme being and we got all these billions of people that live on this earth, why do people have so many different perspectives on what spirituality is and what God is and what religion is? If you have Christianity, you got Lutheran, you got Methodist, Presbyterian, Jehovah's Witness, you can go down the line. So if there's so many different, people have so many different belief systems, how does that happen if there's one God and one creator? Or, why do people discount if you have, like spiritual beliefs like Native Americans, with, same thing with the Japanese that can believe in a wind god or sun god? None of it made sense to me. So I subscribed from that moment that it was like, unless I have proof, I'm only going to believe in what I can scientifically prove and put my fingerprints on. If I see it for myself, then it's one thing. But I don't knock what other people subscribe to. It said philosophy, theology, history, and other related areas of knowledge and overlap between all of those. It's a lifelong quest for me to expand my base of knowledge, but especially things that guide life. And that we are exactly in the same place as far as how we see life and how we see other people and others' perspectives. We see it the exact same way. And what's really cool, this cigar is still good all the way down to the end. What's really cool is like, this is stuff that I love to do these lives. This is why I love to do these lives, to have these cigar talks and to be able to talk about, everything. I love to be able to talk about philosophy. I love to be able to talk about religion and paranormal. I love to be able to talk about science, basketball, and music with y'all. I love the fact that y'all come on and give me all these moments. Just like Hotbox was saying, like, it's just a way to, get beyond whatever you're dealing with in the world and just have conversations with people, get new perspectives, get new point of views. So I thank y'all for really taking the time to, to join me on my birthday. It's past my birthday now, even in the US. But this is the shit that I'm here for, man. This is the stuff that I come on for, to have this conversation with y'all. All right. I know it's only 6 of y'all still rocking with me now. I know it's really late. Should I go in the house now and actually finish up packing and doing some work? I got to go to Osaka tomorrow. So I got to make sure we all packed up. Got to make sure the house is clean before we get out of here. Do I light up another cigar, or do I keep it moving and get on with the rest of my day? Y'all let me know. Whoever's still remaining in here, I'll give y'all some time to kind of let me know how that's going. Because I brought out my dry box. Let me put this out. That was great. I brought out my dry box here. I got the Todos Las Dias that I got from Steve Saka. And I got a Yamasa in here. I got a Partagas Lusitanius. I got a Dale. The lighting won't let that show up. That's a Dale. See? And I got a Casa Magna that Michael from Master Ash sent to me. I don't know if I want to light any of these up, but I will if y'all are still down. Let me see. Let me get this next one here. It said, are you a gamer? A few people are trying to get me back into it. I haven't played games since Xbox 360, but light another. I always know you're going to say that anyway. Yeah, man, I'm a gamer, dude. One of the gifts that my wife and my daughter got for me yesterday, my PlayStation 5 controller has been messed up. I've had like a drift in it. I literally took the whole thing apart and I tried to clean the inside of it out and stop that from happening. But we spent $500 for this console, and the console, the controller started to whack out on me in less than a year. I only had the PlayStation 5 for about a year, and it's starting to wear down on me. I don't play a lot of games. But like, they're very specific games that I get into. I like open world games, and I like very first person games. So the games that I've been playing the most lately was Ghost of Tsushima, Metal Gear 5, Star Wars. Right now, what I'm currently playing is Star Wars Survivor, and I played the Fallen Order. I just beat that. I beat Ghost of Tsushima. I beat Metal Gear 5, and I just recently beat Red Dead Redemption 2. And those are the type of games that I play. They're puzzle games. they're action games, and they're real world based type games. So like you kind of feel like you're immersed in this world, this open world. That's this type of stuff that I get into. And I play NBA 2K, but NBA 2K, like they got into that micro transactions and all that kind of stuff like that. So I don't really get into that anymore. I don't like to spend money on my games. I paid $70 for this game. I don't want to spend any more money on this game if I don't have to. You feel me? Every now and then I might buy a DLC, but I don't know what type of games you like to play. But I feel like for me that when I do have a chance to sit down and I'm not like being bothered by anything, if I'm not outside smoking a cigar, I can sit down and play this game and I can go into this world. Oh, and Spider-Man. I've been playing Spider-Man. So my wife and my daughter just bought me this new controller, and they bought me Spider-Man 2 with Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Once again, open world, puzzle game, action, all in one. So those are the type of games that I can play. I've been trying to play the new Batman games, Batman Asylum and all that kind of stuff, but I don't like games like that, like Batman Asylum and Arkham Asylum. What's the game that they made into a TV show that was really good? Last of Us. Last of Us. I didn't like that because I feel like it's not open world enough for me. And I feel like the game plays the game for you instead of you doing everything that you need to do. It's like playing an RPG. I don't like those RPG type of games. So if I go back to games, I'll be going PC instead of on console. All right, so this is my thing with the PC games. I've never been a PC gamer. The last game that I played on a PC was Doom. So that tells you like how long ago that was. I feel like with PC games, like you gotta either use the keyboard. I don't think I have enough dexterity to do it on the keyboard. And it feels like it takes away something from me if I gotta buy a controller for my PC. I'm weird like that. And I know that, but I think usually the graphics are gonna be a lot better and you're gonna get a little bit more detailed in the PC. But buying a PC that is complex enough to be able to play games on, and you know, like most of the people I know who are like diehard gamers that play on PC, they build their own computers and they put in their own RAM and all that. I'm not technically savvy enough to do that shit. I can buy a PlayStation console and just hop in there and then I'm good. You say you can use the Xbox or PS5 controllers now. Oh, see, that's kind of dope because it's Bluetooth. Is that how it works? You just connect the Bluetooth to it and it works just the same way? If that's the case, I could do that. But the only computer that we have, I got my Chromebook right here. My wife has her Mac stuff. She has a Mac laptop and we got a Mac desktop computer, a Mac Pro in there. And I hate Apple. I'm not an Apple guy at all. So like that's the one reason why I stayed away from that. And I've been PlayStation ever since I had PlayStation 1. I've been a PlayStation guy. So that's kind of been my thing. I kind of stick to PlayStation. But as you can see, though, the games that I've just mentioned are the games that I can sit there and play. I play on my son's Switch, too. My son got a Nintendo Switch. So I played Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and the new one that just came out. I play that joint. I love that game. That new Zelda game is fire. I don't know if you ever play that. If you're an Xbox guy, you probably don't get to play Zelda like that. Zelda is fire. And I like the OG Metroid. So I will sit back and play those on his Nintendo Switch. Like if we travel and I'll take his Nintendo Switch and I'll play that on the road while we out and about. But he been going so hard. We just bought him Breath of the Wild. So he had the most recent Zelda, and then we just got him Breath of the Wild. So he don't let that go now. So until he get tired of that, I won't be playing on the Switch for a while. But that's my games, man. So what would you play, man? Like if you got in there, what kind of games are you gonna play when you get back into it? I like to see what other people rock with because I know I'm kind of weird with my games. I don't play like the games that like Call of Duty. I know a lot of people were into Call of Duty and all those games where like you can play as groups and play on the internet. I play solo games where it's just me. I'm the one character and I'm going through to save the world. That's me. So I know that's kind of weird to say, but yeah. He said, I want to go PC because unlike consoles, you don't have to pay online fees. That's true. That's a good point. Also, it has so many more game options because backwards compatibility, which is also a great point. I grew up with PlayStation though. I got a 360 just because of the price. I know, man, but like I couldn't get into the Microsoft thing. Like I know, like it's very rare that I would pay, $500 for like a console or stuff like that, and I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't get it. My wife had to buy it for my birthday. That's the only reason why I got it. She know I like, I had a PS4 forever, and during the period while we were out here, trying to get a PS5 was nearly impossible, especially after the pandemic and then being in a foreign country. Like whenever they would come into the shop, people were lining up outside of her store just to buy it. So I was like, I'm not gonna get it. And she finally she broke down. She was like, let me get this for you. So I can't be mad at her because I wasn't gonna spend my own money on that joint. But now like I sit back and play it. I gotta be careful right now because I know I need to go in the house and do cleaning and all that kind of shit like that. I got like 4 or 5 rooms I need to clean right now. And I know I want to go sit down and play Jedi Survivor. That game is so good. Have you played it on the PC? Like they got busy with this game. The graphics are crazy. The Star Wars lore is crazy. And I've really been into like a lot of that Star Wars lore lately. The problem is like the stuff that they putting out on Disney right now is trash. So really the best way that you're going to get anything from Star Wars right now is by playing the video games or reading the books. So Jedi Survivor is like I can just, show all my different techniques and styles. I want to go inside right now and sit down and play that joint, but I know I got to be focused. So that's where I am on that. I don't know, man. I went basically 2.5 hours. So if y'all don't, come up with anything else, I'm not gonna light up right now. I'm gonna save this Yamasa for the next time around. So unless y'all got something else y'all want to add, throw in there, comment, let me know. I'm gonna skate up out of here. You haven't played anything at all, dude. Like, all right, I'm gonna recommend this, man. I'm gonna recommend this. I'm gonna say right now, and I hear that it's really good on PC as well. Get Red Dead Redemption 2. Go ahead and play that. Ghost of Tsushima is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played, and I'm just talking about the way that they have just completely captured the Japanese culture, and from the poetry to the foliage to the landscape to the ancient culture to the dialogue, it's Japan. And there are places that if you go to Tsushima Island, you can see all these different temples, you can see all the stuff, like you can really be immersed in it. So I would highly recommend that. Just enough, like it's so much that they built into the game that you get into the culture, you get into the lore, and you get into the whole concept of it. I think you kind of lose yourself in that game for a while. If you need a way to just kind of disappear for a while and to get into the whatever the mythology is, whatever the story is, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. The games are long enough that you don't get tired of it. And then you can get the DLCs to add on and, have extra missions and all that kind of stuff. I swear you'll fall in love with it. I swear you'll fall in love with it. It's just it's the best escape. And if you can smoke in your house, if you could just sit down with a cigar and just, lock into those games, you'll disappear into the world. The characters are so in depth. The gameplay is, as far as like being able to hunt and being able to acquire new abilities, all of it is there. The concept, the battle, the fights between the boss fights and all that kind of stuff, it gives you everything that you're looking for. So that would be my osusume. That would be my recommendation, for games that you can hop on right now. I'm basing that on the games that I like to play. I kind of hate I feel like it's a bias for me because these are the games and the stuff that I love, but that's what I would recommend. Spider-Man is fun just because the mechanics of like playing as Spider-Man, be it Peter Parker or Miles Morales, the mechanics of actually swinging through the city there are times when I play that game where I don't even bother with the actual missions. I just swing through the city and I stop at different places and I explore different neighborhoods. Like, when you spend time in New York, like you can go to different places and be like, yo, damn, I was actually here before. I've been to these different places, I've been to these different areas, and I've seen all these different things. Like you get immersed in it. And the way it feels, like you really feel like Spider-Man. It's just the way you can kind of like go through the different, neighborhoods, different cities, look on the buildings. It's a beautiful game. It's just really dope. So I highly recommend those. Metal Gear is really cool too. Oh, Metal Gear. My favorite Metal Gear game of all time is Metal Gear 3, Snake Eater. So I hear they're going to be releasing, and it's going to be on the PC too. They're releasing a revised version of Metal Gear 3 called Metal Gear Delta. So it's basically just refurbishing this game and redigitizing it, changing the lighting and all that, and they're adding a few different things into it. It was my favorite game because it gets so deep into the details. Like, you got to camouflage to be able to survive. It's a stealth game. So if you get to the point where you're not hunting and you're not eating food while you're out on your mission, that like your stomach can start growling. So like if it's an enemy that's nearby and your stomach growls, they can hear your stomach growling. They can come hunt for you. So like you got to pay attention to your health meter. You got to pay attention to what you eat, because certain things that you eat could be poisonous. You got to read through it. Like you get immersed in this world. He said, I always like shooter or racing games. I was a savage on Need for Speed, and I like those games. Those games I like to play like in an actual arcade. I like to like sit in, on the bike or in the joint. That's the only time I play those. Like playing the racing games when I'm at home, I can't immerse myself deep into the game enough to really get into it. I'll play it like if I'm playing with other people, I'll get into it. The first person shooter games are kind of dope. I like sniper games. So what was it? Like Splinter Cell is good. I think you would like Metal Gear because you can do the shooter portion. Like you can get sniper rifles and all that kind of stuff. You can get, different guns to assemble and add on different, things to your guns. And depending on the type of gun, the type of mission, you got to pick the right gun for that mission. So I think Metal Gear might be up your alley as far as that. So, and the rest of the games is like Splinter Cell and Call of Duty, those Tom Clancy games and all that kind of stuff. I know people got into those for the shooters and all that kind of stuff. I haven't played those in years though, other than Metal Gear. So that's really the best advice I can give on that. But I like those shooter games too, man. And it's funny for me because I'm anti-gun, but I love the mechanics of being able to control it and being able to time it and getting, the best shots and all that kind of stuff, headshots and shit like that. I get into that shit too. I was raised on gaming since the days of the 80s as well. I get back into gaming for a couple years. Got back into gaming a couple years ago. So far, only console, but I love to get a PC rig eventually. I got 7 consoles at the moment, but planning on adding 2 more. What consoles do you have? So I would imagine you probably got multiple of the PlayStation joints. I imagine you got something from the Microsoft line in the Xbox. What else you got? I've been thinking about like going back, and because here in Japan, like if I went to Book Off or Watman's, they got every console that you can think of. Like you would have a field day here in Japan, and you can get them for next to nothing. They still got the Famicoms. You can go buy Famicoms. They got the Nintendo 64s. You can go get like a PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2. You can go get the old Xbox. They have all the controllers. They will have like crates, like full crates this big, and they would just be full of games to the brim. And you could just go through and pick games. I saw one the other day that had a Super Nintendo joint and a Super Famicom, and it had Bulls versus Blazers. I don't even think Bulls versus Blazers was released in the U.S., so that was dope. But I wish I had the disposable income to like just to get shit for myself, just so I could go and buy up all of these, old school games and sell them in the States or just play them for myself. But I really don't do that now because the games that I love to play are pretty much either on the Switch or PlayStation now. And everything has an emulator now. So you can go out and get all the, the old school games and all that kind of stuff. So look into a game called Body Cam. It looks so real. All right. Do I have my phone out here? I thought I had my phone out here, man. I need to take that note down. Body Cam. If you think about it, man, send me a message to that joint so I don't forget Body Cam. I don't know what the hell I did with my. Oh, here it is. I'll put it down here. Body Cam. I just pulled that. Whoa. Okay. Oh, that looks dope. That looks dope. I'll definitely check this out. It's definitely first person. Yeah, I'll play this one. What console is on? PS5. Okay, bet. Hyper realistic. Yeah, see, that's my kind of game right there. I will play this. Oh, okay, Body Cam will unfortunately not be available across console platforms. So including popular ones such as the PlayStation and Xbox is not there. It's only PC. So I won't be playing that, unfortunately. That looks dope though. Have you ever heard of a system called Jaguar? Yeah, I remember the Jaguar. I never had a Jaguar, but I remember Jaguar. That was Atari. I think Jaguar was Atari. I think that was their was it 24-bit, if I remember correct? My cousin's stepdad had one. It's the only one I ever came across. Like I've seen one in the wild too. Jaguar didn't sell really well. And I think it was mainly because Atari had such a bad name. It had a bad rap from the original days when you had the Atari 2600. And I think it came out when the gaming consoles, everybody was stepping up from 16-bit to 24-bit, if I remember correct. And you had the Sega Saturn. You had the Jaguar, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. It was during that era when everybody was competing to see who could have the better graphics at the time. So you had it was going between the cartridge consoles and the disc consoles. And I remember the Jaguar was supposed to be one of the killers that came out, but nobody really bought it because Atari had such a bad name. I'm doing that off the top of my head, but I could be a bit off with the timeline. I said my collection is 7 consoles and approximately 340 games. I wish I was that kind of gamer, yo. I wish I still had it like that. I still enjoy retro games, but I know PC and non-physical media is the future. I've got a Genesis Xbox, 360, PS1 through 3, Wii, N64, a Restaurant 5. I don't even know the Restaurant 5. That's crazy. That's dope. They said that my mom, nieces, they also have the NES, Super NES, Xbox, GameCube. I forgot about GameCube. That's the one I was trying to think of. I was thinking of the Cube when I was thinking of the Sega Saturn. I couldn't remember GameCube and the PS4. That's some dope shit, man. I'm still a classic gamer, man. Right now, back in the day, I was an arcade head. So, I Marvel vs. Capcom. I hear they're gonna release a new edition of Marvel vs. Capcom where they got all the Marvel Capcom, all the Marvel games, Street Fighters, and they're gonna put them all in one collection. I'm getting that. I gotta have that. That's my joint, and I need to get one of those joystick controllers. I can play that all day. They just released a couple Ninja Turtle games where they got all the old school Ninja Turtle games. My son got the 1-Up console upstairs for that. I want to get another one in the house. I want to get the Marvel joint for the crib. I'm gonna get that soon. I told y'all I love Metroid. River City Ransom is probably one of my all-time favorite games. It's a couple of the retro joints that I want to go back to, mainly the Street Fighter joints. Yeah, and the Retron 5 that's new to me too. So like I'm gonna have to do some research on that. That joint sound like it's a killer though. Back in the day, my mom got me the ColecoVision. And y'all got ColecoVision. And I know it's like an old, barely 8-bit game, but back in the days in the early 80s, that was like everything. They had the controller that used to look like a phone, and you had the little, rotoscope on top, and you had the numbers that you can press in. We used to play a lot of football games on that shit, baseball, pitfall. What was the bumper car game that we used to play back in the day? Pole position. So I could kind of go back into those, but I'm so immersed now in these open world, hyper realistic games that like it's hard for me to go back unless I have like a diehard nostalgia for some of the games that are out there. But like, I think I could go back now and play Chippendale Rescue Rangers, the old DuckTale games. Like surprisingly, those games was like super fun back in the day. But I think that's probably like the most that I could kind of go back to and play control wise. Sorry about that. He said my dad was a killer on old school Gallagher. I saw him actually flip the game over the first day. That's bananas. That's bananas. My moms used to play Gallagher and Pac-Man. Those are the only games I've ever seen my mom play. Like I got love for like the old school players that still play Gallagher and still play the 1914 games, like the old shoot 'em up games like that. Yeah, that's a classic. I was never that good at them. So that when you see somebody that can turn the game over like that, I'm in awe. I can't front. I'm absolutely in awe of people that have that skill. So the Retcon 5 is a clone system reverse engineered to be able to play 5 different formats: NES, SNES, Game Boy Advance, Sega Master System, and Genesis. That sounds dope. That sounds super dope. I hadn't even heard of that. Like, what's the MSRP on getting a Retron 5? And I wonder if I could find that here in Japan. I wonder if that's possible. I don't know, man. Like I think about it sometimes now. Like, is it worth it for me to go back into that? Like, would I really want to? Would I play enough of those old retro games? Because now, like you can go get you can get the little mini Atari console. They got like 120 games. You can do the same thing with like the little Sega Genesis and the little PlayStation games. It's only a few games out of all of them that I'm like, really willing to go back and play. Oh, let me tell you what I do love though. The old Technos games, like River City Ransom. They had Super Dodgeball, Renegade. So like the old Street Brawler games. So Renegade, Final Fight. What's the other joint that I'm thinking of? They were all like the side scroller beat 'em up, punch 'em games. Double Dragon. I would go back and play those. What was it? It was the two dudes, the bad dudes. They were kind of based off Bruce Lee. I would play Bad Dudes again too. I don't know if y'all remember these games that I'm bringing up. These are like real old school games. River City Ransom is definitely a collector's item. DuckTales recently became a collectible. Mortal Kombat is still a viable franchise. I can't get into the new Mortal Kombat, man. And I'll talk about that in a sec. A franchise, the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is considered the best fighting game ever. It's my all-time favorite. It's my all-time favorite. I would literally I would leave school for lunch, hop the fence from school, walk across the street to the mall that was in my neighborhood. So my house was here, the mall was here, and the school was across the street. So I could walk to all three of them. So I would leave school, sneak off campus, and go over there, and I would play. If anybody was playing Street Fighter, Marvel versus Capcom, or Marvel Street Fighter, I would play that, and I would put a quarter in. I would beat them. And if I had to go back to school, I would just give them my quarter and just, go back. And then I'll leave school and go back and play that again. Like any of those games, I can sit back and play for hours. That is my all-time favorite. But I hate the way Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat I hate the way their sprites look now. They look too clunky. I don't like the movement of them. I miss the old sprites for, like, Street Fighter, the way Ryu used to look, and the way like all the Marvel characters used to look, the way Mortal Kombat used to have like the realistic sprites. I hate that they changed that to these really blocky, anime looking characters. I can't stand it. Like I'm not even interested in playing these games anymore because they don't look good to me. And when I'm doing like all this the super moves from Street Fighter and all that, it doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel like Street Fighter. It feels more like Tekken or some like weird anime game, and it doesn't have the same nostalgia for me. So like I have no interest in these games anymore. So the only way I would play it if I went back to like Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat. I could probably play Mortal Kombat up to Mortal Kombat 3, I think. Anything after 3, when they started getting into like the 3D games and starting to look like Tekken, and then when they started looking like anime characters, it like the fatalities don't like interest me anymore. Like I can't get into any of those. Hold up, yo. The wife is calling. Like we got 8 people in here. Stay with me real quick. I'm gonna stay on for just another minute. Let me mute myself real quick. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. My bad. My car needed repair, so I didn't think they were going to call me back, but they did call me back on that. So my bad. Let me get on to the next here. I know I was talking about the video games. Let's see. Streets of Rage was great too. Yeah, I did love Streets of Rage for sure. I said nobody on the planet can see me in NBA Street 3. Yeah, you probably wax me on that joint. I wasn't that good at that. Now we talk about NBA 2K, you might have some comp, but yeah, you will wax me on the NBA Street. I missed that game. That was a good one though. That's underrated, highly underrated. He said, "I'll ice y'all in Kobe Bryant 64." I don't even remember that joint. Honestly, I forgot Kobe had a game. I'm into building car audio subwoofer boxes, but similar to that is been waiting. I've been wanting to build a stand-up arcade cabinet. Oh, that would be dope. It's not too hard. Acrylic plate. I wish I was crafty like that, man. I don't have the skills, man. I've been working on my yard out here trying to build a fence, and I put my furniture together out here and that took me days, yo. I wish I had that. If I could build like a video game console, you couldn't tell me shit, man. My wife would kick me out because I would be building like Street Fighter games nonstop. So y'all talking about the car audio. I'm no good with that shit. I'm factory speakers. All right, so y'all building on that. Damn, how did I skip one? Yeah, that's dope. I look, man, I like as much as I love music and I love playing music in my car. I got a little Pajero Mitsubishi Mini. If I put speakers in this car, I would have no storage space in my car at all. Like, I really wish I could, put a system in this joint where I can like really play the music the way I want to play it without taking up my car space. I was never that cat that was like, especially growing up in the South, growing up in the 80s and 90s, everything was about, getting the best speakers and getting the best sound system and putting it in your car, getting the JL and all JBL and Bose and all that kind of stuff. I was never that cat, man. I'm not skilled enough to do any of that, but I appreciate it. And I want to be able to get like a dope sound system, but I don't even think this car is worth it. I had to pause y'all for a moment because I got a call from the auto part shop that I just came from before I got home. My AC is going out in the car. These old cars here in Japan, starting, they hold up, but you still got to put certain repairs into them and all that kind of shit. I just want to get my car so it get me from point A to point B right now. That's the only thing I care about. I just want my AC to work. And I just, I would love to have a better system in there, like a new GPS and all that. But I'll leave y'all to, setting up the new car audio and all that kind of stuff, man. Y'all are a lot better at that than I am. I really wish I was technically savvy like that. Building computers, building console systems, building to the cars. I can barely just do my yard work. I'm that dude. I wish I had that skill set. For real. All right, man. I'm going to stop stressing my neighbors out. I'm going to get out of here. Thank y'all for joining on. I saw we got a couple new people in here. I was going to light up another cigar, but I'm going to chill. I'm going to go ahead and do some work. Thank y'all for joining in with me, man. Thank y'all for spending my birthday with me, smoking your best cigars with me. It's always appreciated. I'm going to Osaka, so I don't think I'll be coming on to do another live for probably like a week from now. It might be a little minute before I get back on. So my dad had a friend who was a major car audio shop in Fresno. The guy's son got the shop shut down because he had drugs and sold vehicles. That's the most Fresno thing I've ever heard. Like, that sound like Fresno. We'll get into that another time because I do want to figure out like where that was. So I wonder if I went to that shop, or if it was before my time when I was in Fresno. Because I had to take a couple cars into the shops that were out there. That's one thing about Fresno. You always gonna have like somebody that can do maintenance on your cars and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate it. Sal, I know you were still up in here, man. Intercost is up in here too, man. What up, man? So what up, y'all? Thank y'all for kicking it with me for this long, man. I appreciate y'all joining in, hanging out with the boy. I didn't even know y'all was still holding on, just hanging out with me, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get out of here, man. I'm gonna go be productive, go get my stuff done. Y'all stay cool. I'm gonna get some food in my system. Y'all eat well, be good, and I'll probably be back in maybe a week or so. So maybe give me about 5 or 6 days. I might come on and do another live. If I have time, I chop into some of the group chats and all that kind of stuff and try to pop in and see what's happening. But I'm probably gonna be busy for the next 5 days or so. So smoke your best. Y'all stay up. Thank y'all for joining in. My man said, happy birthday, brother. We'll see you next time. We'll talk boxing. Look, damn, why didn't y'all bring that up earlier? Because I want to talk about Tank Davis. I want to talk about Monster Inoue. I want to talk about Shakur Stevenson, man. I got some boxing stuff that I want to talk about, man. So we'll definitely get into that. If you know, said it was another dope live. Happy birthday. Thank y'all for the birthday wishes. Doug, appreciate the birthday wishes, man. Intercost, thank you. Sal, thank you for the birthday wishes. I'll catch y'all on the next go round. Be easy.